Good evening, everybody. Welcome to CEC24, August 25th meeting. We're sorry for the late start. We had some technical difficulties with the Wi-Fi at the school. At this time, request for the list of two to a roll call.
I'm sorry, I think I will. Madam President.
Here.
Present. President. Kate Bartels. Here. President. Olivia Bonner. Here. Brian Oxley.
Present.
Yes, I'm definitely. Thank you very much. Brian Oxley. And we start.
So we do have quorum. We have a meeting at this time. The second item on the agenda is the academy vacancy voting. We received one application from a parent on 128 Gabriel. So we have some quick questions for you. They're very standard questions we ask all the members. It is kind of hard to hear here.
Yeah, oh, we're not going without this. Check.
Just one quick question. So the question is, can we interview the parent and go the same night? Or does that have to be held over as a well? Which, the way it's always been done in the past, as the other council, we meet the member, we discuss the questions, we take a vote.
Could we at least do the interview now? We have to give some time to know ready or. You could email him right now and then we can maybe vote. But what we did previously is we at least interviewed. Right, water here. But we should at least move forward that and validate that.
He says, yes, you're talking about.
No, that's right, I see.
You're seeing this. He said, even with the faith that we have, physically, person, yeah, so we reached out to him, but I think the CEC was like the person of the public meeting. So you want to go to specific states, but we told her if there's a difference in Thursday. If the shows, basically, I would, yeah. That's the thing, I don't know.
Given that.
Yeah, that's right. That's not right next to the process. They're right.
That's the version, so.
Yeah, you go.
Can I just introduce myself? How we get to that?
Yeah, sure. Come on.
So, my name is Gabriel Solnica. I'm a happily married father of 3 for the last 19 years.
Right, just for folks online.
Okay, sure. So you have a wired mic, okay?
Hi.
Okay, great. So my name is Gabriel Solnica. I am a happily married father of 3 for the last 19 years. I grew up in the neighborhoods of Ridgewood, Flushing, Elmhurst, and Middle Village. And the reason I'm here is I want to contribute and help this district and the board in any way that I can for the benefit of our kids. Because as we all know, it's all about the future generations and how we help them navigate through the learning experience and the complexities of life. I believe that a safe and all-inclusive learning environment is paramount to their development. 3 of my kids are the products of public education, myself included, and 2 of whom are still enrolled at PS 128. Lastly, I believe in fair and all-inclusive equity for all as it relates to educational directives and my interpretation of the DOE's position on the matter. How can I serve our kids and what is it that I can do to help? Those are my two main driving factors and the reasons for joining this board. Thank you so much. Ask away. Oh yeah, my favorite color is blue. My favorite comedian used to be Robin Williams, but closest second is Conan O'Brien. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Thank you for that. So you standard question I stated to all members that apply. The first question is, tell us something about yourself and why you're running for the education council seat.
I want to use my skills and my knowledge to help the boards to navigate the many different issues that schools and kids face. Infrastructure, teacher shortages, dietary issues, and there's a whole slew. So I want to be of service and be able to help them.
Thank you for that. The next question is, how do you think you can contribute to the community as a CEC member? And what is your vision for education in this community?
Well, I can absolutely contribute by volunteering and becoming one of you, spending the time to thoughtfully listen and consider the issues at hand and make the appropriate decision, help you make decisions that will impact our kids' lives. Kids.
Thank you. How you work with others in teams to solve an issue. What role did you play in identifying and eliminating the hurdles?
Only as good as all the team members that I'm a part of. I'm gonna have to, rely and weigh on you guys, and you guys are gonna have to help me. I'm gonna have to help you. So it's a symbiotic relationship, in my opinion. I'm a great team player. I'm a former C-suite executive from the financial services industry, and if it weren't for my operations team, I wouldn't be able to accomplish any of the things that I was able to do. I feel the same way about any committee, panel, or board that I'm a member or part of. We're gonna have to use our strengths and work together to accomplish common goals. Try to be efficient, not waste time, tackle actual serious issues that are at hand.
Excellent. Thank you for the advice. At this time, members, any members have any further questions for the planning?
Thank you so much for coming in. I have a question for you. Everybody on the council knows I'm executive, so I have two that candidates when they come here. So I looked through LinkedIn, so that's I can get more information on my candidates, and I have an attachment, and I know what I'm talking to when you get here. So
Sure.
it's very important. I did see something that was bubbling online. That you were for the funding the DOE. Can you tell me a little bit about that? How you feel about the DOE?
Most likely, it's a comment related to an old post. And, views and positions change. My views and positions have certainly changed on the topic. I'm not exactly sure what the thread, what the topic was about, but I think it was just an opinion that the system's broken. And perhaps during that time frame, people were calling for defunding different departments, not only the DOE. And it's just another way to relay the message that we need to be part of the solution to fix the problem. And perhaps was venting my frustration, which resulted in such a comment. But I don't believe that that is the right way to go forward. So, yeah, sure.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much, David. Appreciate it. Right?
Thank you.
So at this time, the members want to do the roll call vote. Okay. So the list, you can do a vote.
Oh, I think we don't need.
We're all the same vote.
Yes.
Who is with you? That's me, no. And it's here, Brian. Demonstrate. Aaliyah. Yes. Yes. Take photographs.
Oh, yes.
And Bonnie.
Yes.
Okay, so there are three yeses, 2 noes, and 3 absent. Sort of things.
Okay, so we'll do it this time. We'll pass the vote at our next meeting. At November, to have more discussion, we can talk it through. Just a very more input from everybody, so you be aligned. And at the next meeting, we'll take another vote and hopefully we'll have a new one.
Great,
Thank you for your time, David.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it. So the next item on the agenda is president's reports. So it's been a busy summer. We've been working closely with school facilities, SCA, and Superintendent Rivera. One issue that has to be discussed is the issue we will going around at CEC24, where the incident occurred early in the year, the discovery of a body on the premise that is deceased. Parents have great concerns about is the school safe to return. I have personally sat down in meetings with Joe Lazarus and Carmine Franzese from Division of School Facilities. The school has been sanitized. The air quality has been tested every day for the past 40 days. There have been other outside contractors coming there to evaluate the sanitary condition of the school. The school is fully ready to open. There are rumors going around such as principals discovered the body in the chimney 2 weeks before and didn't tell anybody. I can tell 100% to anybody that is a pure rumor that is going around this district, and it's actually scaring parents to go back to the school. The school is 100% ready to go. As far as the investigation, the NYPD and the medical examiner have not released any information to the community or to the district office at large. So we cannot comment on that. We can comment. Superintendent Rivera has also walked the school and he is satisfied with it. He walked with DSF. So 113 is ready to go. It's safe for the students to come to that building. There's no question as to that condition. School is full. At IS-51 regarding the DYCD contracts. Peter Tennessee was at that school for many years. Under the contract, they were removed and replaced with another organization. The school community held a rally to have Leader Tennessee back. They do not want this new organization. We strictly want Leader Tennessee to be their CBO provider. I raised this up to the chancellors. We spoke with him directly on a phone, which is a very robust conversation. At which time tomorrow, I was just advised earlier tonight, tomorrow we'll have a meeting with the head of DYCD to see what can be done to satisfy the needs of 61. The only needs that we see as a council is to bring back the New York Junior Tennis League, and we will be on the call tomorrow to support IS-61 with that. We also have a new school opening this year, Q West. So that's an exciting thing for us. We have the team here from school nutrition tonight. They are working to make sure kitchens are ready to go. The staff is in place. School nutrition is a unique call. Other school systems sometimes overlooked, but they are the hardest working teams out there. They make sure kids are taken care of, and every issue they have, as soon as they hear about it, they take care of it immediately. So I want to thank them for that and all their hard work. Also, the DOE is switching over from what they call ATS to Oasis. So I received numerous calls, a lot of calls about busing issues. The issues were that students who were in D24 were now being told they are not D24 students, they are D30 students. They can no longer enroll in our schools, they're no longer providing busing, and they will have to go to those D30 schools. At which time, after I tried to go through the bizarre maze of find my school and enrollment, because none of them are linked correctly. I then reached out to John Benson, held a meeting with him, also with Also district planning, they assisted me in determining what schools are what. So it seems as if when they switch from ETS to Oasis, they redistricted our lines, adjusted the lines for students, and then tell the parents, you're no longer, kids are not going to 229 anymore. You have to go across Queens Vocal Park to your school to E30. That issue was raised up to John Benson's team. I also reached out to Superintendent Rivera, and that issue has been corrected. We're still working on getting the exemptions for students who were denied busing because they were considered B30 students and no busing allowed by the district. So we're still working on that concern daily. We're finding out more and more cases every day. So we discovered it, CEC24 found the issue, and we are still working to correct it. That is something we'll be talking to John Benson about, and the team that handles the rollout of Oasis. Because it's our district, it means there's other districts that have the same issue. So that's a major one. I've received probably about 67 emails from parents. I've answered every one, and I've raised every issue to John Benson. I'm following through with every single incident. Other than that, that's all I have for my report. I wish everybody a safe and happy over the school year, more families. Thank you for all you do for these children, and hopefully 26, 27, great year. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jose Jimenez, and I am one of the deputy superintendents here in District 24, sitting in for our Superintendent Rivera, who sends his regards. And I'm here just to share a few updates. But first, I just want to thank the CEC and thank you for sharing just the tireless work that they do for the community. And thank you for expressing a desire to draw lead families to volunteer, whether on panel at their schools. So I thank you all for being here and doing that work in your schools. I'll share that right now our district team is working on the school CEPs. Those are the comprehensive education plans, and so they are reviewing them. The SLTs at the school level, along with the principal, submitted their comprehensive education plan towards the end of the school year. And during the summer, our district team works on the different priorities and gives the schools feedback so that they can update those goals so that there should be alignment to the city's instructional focus, district's instructional focus. And so that is something that is underway and that schools will be working on after September 1st, where they'll have time to review that when SNCs come back to school and rejoin so there is a timeline. I just shared some of that. It will have to be entered by October 23rd before they will resubmit. What's happening right now? Also, our district team is going to schools for the building readiness walkthroughs. These are the beginning readiness walkthroughs to ensure that the school is ready to open. Those are beginning, they assess facilities, safety, conditions, classrooms, curriculum, if it's been delivered, and they do these walkthroughs to surface any issues that the principal might have prior to opening, that the custodial engineer might have. And so this is something that happens every year, and they receive feedback as well if there's something that needs to happen before the school year begins. And another update that's very exciting for this year, as part of the New York City Reads and New York City Solve initiatives, schools receive job embedded support through another vendor partner. These are organizations that we get to select as that are working with schools across the city with the different curriculums. We have decided to choose Teaching Matters, which is a organization that has a track record of over 30 years. They've worked with over 2,000 schools, 50,000 teachers, 750,000 students. They've been in New York City for a very long time. And last year we were with HMH, which was the, Councilman Mifflin is the provider of the curriculum, but they also provided the support. We decided to shift to Teaching Matters as we also became a New York City SOLVS district for our 6th through 8th grade middle schools and our K to 8s for the 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. And also needed a partner for mathematics, and Teaching Matters does both. HMH would have only been able to do one, so we've had to get another another partner to work in schools. So we kind of working with one for both initiatives. And so we're excited about that because it will mean that schools will receive a certain amount of days for ELA, and our middle schools a certain amount of days for math. And this is a partnership that works with the superintendent team. We meet every other week. We discuss how schools are performing, the coaching, and also the professional learning that's being offered to teachers. Some highlights. Just want to thank everyone who are educators or administrators who opened the doors during summer for some Rising or ESY program. For students that receive instruction year round. It was a very successful summer. I got to see a lot of initiatives that were happening, a lot of partnerships with CBOs that worked really well. Our students really enjoying their summer, but also learning. So that was wonderful to see. We also want to share that our arts initiative that began this past year through the arts program with community-based organizations. We work with Family Life Theater, Think Bang, and the Chinese Cultural Center. These are organizations that created arts programs in our schools throughout the year. We received funding to be allocated in this way. We surveyed principals. We wanted to know their experience with these organizations and whether they wanted them to return, because we did receive the funding again this year. And they were in agreement that they enjoyed the arts programming, so they will be returning next year to the schools to work with the CBOs. We do have a Parent Leadership Institute. We shared this in our last meeting, but I'll just share some of the dates again. Monday, August 31st, from 9 to 11, and 6 to 8 p.m. There's a parent teacher associate for PAs and PTAs, the roles and responsibilities, record keeping, and the Chancellor's Reg A665. Documentation and budgeting and finance is a training for PAs and PTAs. Tuesday, September 1st, school leadership team. Roles and responsibilities, and Wednesday, September 2nd, as well, parent leadership toolkit and best practices. Again, these are offerings. I can make sure that this is shared as well through the QR code for the Zoom. And then lastly, just a few dates to remember. September 10th is the first day of school. We will have a few holidays. It's going to be a month that kind of begins and ends, but we are looking forward to welcoming families for our evening parent teacher conferences for middle schools on September 23rd, September 24th, that Thursday for our K-12 and 6-8 schools, and September 30th for elementary schools and pre-K centers on Wednesday, September 30th. So we are excited about the first month of school. And we want to just thank you for your partnership, and if you have any questions.
There we go.
Thank you. Question about HMH. I did hear a couple when I was doing liaison boards, a couple of principals being like, oh, we're learning how to use HMH, like getting the hang of it, you know, sort of expressing some frustration and like having to learn a new program. How do we feel about teaching matters? Like, it sounds great, but I'm just concerned about the changes and the changing from one program to the next. Like, do we think this will be a longer term thing? Like, how long?
So I think that.
Yeah, continuity is
Yeah.
important.
So Teaching Matters is is an organization that's gonna work with schools with the curriculum HME. So they're not a program, they're just, they're gonna provide job embedded support, which is through coaches.
But are they the coaches that come in now? So now it's teaching matter coaches and not.
Right,
it's
and now
just-
you have
I was-
but what the HMH solutions worked with the school was on how to implement the curriculum, teaching practices along, you know, for the curriculum. Now, Teaching Matters is gonna do the same, they're just not from the curriculum as well. So there's some benefit, you know, they were great partners and they, you know, they were the designers of the curriculum, so they've had a also vested interest in it working. So we appreciate that. But the reality too is that the vendor that creates the curriculum also delivering the support, you could see how you know, at times if we wanted to modify it or we needed to change aspects of it for our students, that they might be you know, more beholden to the program as is. That we didn't really get necessarily that feedback, but those are just possible realities of what Teaching Matters. They're focusing on the teaching practice, curriculum agnostic in the sense that they're working with HMH districts, they're working with expeditionary learning districts, they're working with wisdom districts. Meaning they're experts in teaching, and the curriculum that the district is using is the one they're gonna use, but they're gonna be focused more on how do we get students to really internalize the curriculum. How are the teachers, what moves are they making that's leading to better outcomes? So we're excited that, you know, because it's a relationship that we have to build. And make sure that we're monitoring their work in our schools, and we have our own district coaches that will also be going into schools and collaborating with them. It's a way of streamlining because now they're going in the same organization and going for ELA and for MAO. And we get to kind of talk to the same folks about, you know, our schools in a more comprehensive way, instead of having to communicate with multiple people, which is possible, but we made this choice and we're excited.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
That was actually, I agree with that,
Yeah.
but it's I just don't ask consulting questions all the time. The first one was about the CEP, so I know the CEP works, but I guess my first question would be a suggestion. Question. If at some point the district, and this could be something that can help, Donna can help. Almost, I mean, these parent leadership things are going to help, but I think we really need to stress that the CEP runs with the SLTs and the actually see it, because a pretty common problem within the district just that one school that it's set up has been that we talk about the CEP, but there's actually reality on it. So that would be, I guess, my question / suggestion, if there could be someone who can. We could forward, and maybe it's the CC, but like I myself. Before I was on the CC, to ask him what, you know, about the CP, how to do this and that sort of thing. I'm hopeful that this something, the first training will do that. My second question was about the SLT, was about the book walkthroughs. Am I correct that SLTs are allowed to, and was supposed to do a walkthrough at their own school, or am I, do you know what this? Because somewhere we read that SLTs are allowed, I know CEC does that, but SLTs can also do that to come up with their own suggestions, does anyone know?
For the FDOS walkthroughs, and it's just to make sure that people are ready, the building is going to open with no operational concerns. And so that is anybody that is on our Galaxy was assigned to us to work with the questions during my first ironically. To make sure that the buildings are safe for opening and that there's no major things that would stop it, so it could be escalated. I'm not sure about the SLT piece, but those FDOS walkthroughs are specifically so we know.
Maybe this is a separate question for later on that I have, this is talked about SLT specifically in the past, because it was a way to highlight the bathroom that has the third toilet that hasn't worked for a month, you know what I mean, these
Yeah.
sort of things. With which then your SLT would obviously go, I assume to CEC liaison, because I know that's what they're working really hard to do. Is get a better relationship in general with PTAs, with SLTs, with CECs to make it a more cohesive, united organization if you know.
I can check in with there, and also, it's the regulations for it, but you know,
That's what it is.
for the FDOS walkthrough, like I said, is completely
That's official, of course.
operational, can't
Okay.
building open without any major,
Okay.
issues or concerns.
So how about we like.
Okay,
And in terms, I think for the question, the first one that you mentioned about the CEPs, that's a very valid, point. The CEPs are made in collaboration with the families that are part of the SLT. And so there are many, there's a timeline for when, so that's something that we can review with our principals to make sure that they're adhering to it, that they're involving folks. And that, closer to the end of the year when they're submitting their goals, that it's been done in collaboration. So then it isn't, here's our CEP, because it really should involve.
Thank you.
There we go.
Oh, no.
And so, Kate, this gives you two questions. I've never seen a change in regulation where parents are walking the building. But that could easily be solved by the SLT themselves. The SLT can say, here's what we want to do. We want the parents to walk to school, the custodial staff, and the building engineer to identify issues. If some people say no, then it gets kicked up to the superintendent's office to make a decision. Should the parents be allowed to walk to school with see the issues? So that can be handled really quickly internally. The second one was.
That was the second one. The first one was about the CP. You answered that. That's perfect. No,
Yeah.
it wasn't the walkthrough you were talking about. It was more of similar to what the CEC does, just because liaison tours are inconsistent. I think that we all know that. Some will open their doors and let you walk around, and some keep you in the office.
Yeah.
So I just want there to be consistency across the board, and I think SLT will see something different from what a CEC will, because they're in there more, you know what I mean? So I guess that was my question, is there a commission you're answering?
Yeah. And the SLT has the final say. They're the voice of the school. They are the leadership team. I know we're writing our CEP screen time. We're also making each teacher have any hard copy, any paperwork that's completed as far as testing, everything has to be kept on file. If everyone's going to review that, the teacher has to pull up the file on the student to make sure that there is paperwork being done. It's not all in screen time. So that's what our SLT did. We don't take that issue of AI and even go further and bring it home. As far as the SLT training, the one is September 1st, that's the face, correct?
I think so, that was the one that, right?
That's the face.
There's PTA, the rule regulation was the 31st, and SLT was September 1st, and the general leadership was September 2nd. I just really think there's a lot of SLTs out there that if you don't know, you might.
Yeah, so it looks like it's face.
Okay, so it's all things, okay.
So what we've done is, under the CEC, we've reached out to Donna. We also reached out to President's Council, is for the CEC to meet up with these parent leaders. To tell them, what is SLT? What is your role in the SLT? Your voice is the loudest it is when you're on the SLT. You can stop anything with one person. And never reevaluate them. So that's your voice. If the principal says I'm doing it anyway, you sit down. We want everybody to gain consensus. SLT is a basic consensus, so we spoke with Donna, and we told her to ask, to sit down with his parents and actually tell them you have a voice.
I definitely like the way that happened.
Yes, they need to know that this is their role in the school, and don't be intimidated by the UFT You know, it's very intimidating to be on the SL list. They're like DC37, they're principals, they're with UFP. And sometimes the UFP will shout them down. No, we're not doing that. I fought many a battle in my school. You know, for years, cap and gowns, took 3 years. Just something so stupid.
No, but you push back and
But it-
not past that.
But we have,
That's where I.
we have to get the parents out their voice.
This- I think a lot of SLTs fall short because of that simple process.
Yeah.
That's why I ran for CEC, because I knew you and you were a great.
For because
For, you know, but not everyone has that, and if you don't have that person that tells you this is the rule, then you're not, you're just going to a meeting for an hour and what's that?
sometimes people use for school, it's something I still see. So internally, like I said, when we joined a meeting with President's Council, I, no offense to the district office, but I would respect it if it would just be CEC and President's Council. It's easier for parents to discuss and not feel intimidated, not being intimidating, scared, but we all know it's just more open forward.
Okay, I love you, thank you.
Any question or comments from both? Thank you very much, Jose.
Sorry, I have one more
Oh,
question.
one more.
Wanted to give others an opportunity. In July, Superintendent Rivera mentioned that the district team was gonna work on a flyer or documentation that schools could share at the September parent teacher conference night. That we would just have some basic information about the curriculum that we just wanted to make sure that that was still in the works. Anything you need from us on that or?
No, that was great feedback and we took it right away to create a parent facing, community facing. One pager, but more extensive with your also things, so both digital and in print. That will guide families on how to log in to teach up to access the curriculum, how to see student information through their, their students portal on terms of their assessments, the actual curriculum. For both ELA and now for those that are going to be using illustrative mathematics, and for middle school. For some of our elementary schools have different curriculums for math, some for digital, some for math. But we will have that information.
Okay, and that's gonna be sent to principals or how's that?
It's gonna be sent to, it's gonna be also put in our website for the District 24 website, there are the principals, and we'll make sure that Donna shares that as well with the parent coordinators. And so that it can also reach, in different ways.
We also PTAs too, because I do find sometimes it's bottlenecks, but we could have one or two PTA, but I think that sometimes, so we would have that printed out on our PTA. I think that's something also that back to school, that we would have it. Also, because.
Yeah, thank you for
Yeah,
suggesting that.
no, I think it's great.
Yeah, you just give up. Well,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's,
So,
yeah.
it's gonna be line 7.
Thank you.
any other questions, comments, follow-ups? Thank you very much, Jose. Appreciate your time for coming out tonight. The next thing on the agenda is Rita and the teams from Austin District Planning to speak about our district. They are virtual, so.
Hi, everyone.
Alright.
I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen.
We're going to see. Here.
Yep. Yep, with that.
Thank you.
Okay. Just let me know when I should begin.
You're very right. You probably just sorry.
They getting paid. Ridiculous. They treat the families. We can't do it. They're getting paid, and what is disrespect? It is. Okay, just a question.
All right, I think we're ready.
How many times have you been blown up by the meeting? But it's also, we became virtual, virtual answers too. If they're waiting for this now.
Okay. Be here. Be here.
Not sure if you all are talking to us, but
you
we
hear?
can hear you. Are we okay to get started?
Yeah. Can you hear
Yes.
it? Okay, yes, we're ready to get started.
Okay, great.
So, hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Rhea. I'm from the Office of District Planning, and I'm joined by my colleague Julianne. We're here to present and share a little bit of what we do here at District Planning and also share some data about District 24. We do this every year, and so we're hoping that some of you are able to see some updates and ask questions about what's going on. So the agenda for today is that we'll again describe who we are and what we do. We will talk about some of the data summary highlights, and then we'll have some time for questions after. Our contact information will be on the screen. And then we typically share these presentations so that you can take a look at your own leisure. And also there's an appendix with common terms and phrases, just for easy reference. So about district planning. The Office of District Planning is actually a part of the First Deputy Chancellor's Division within New York City Public Schools. We work very closely with school communities, CECs like yourself, superintendents, and other partner offices. Sometimes you hear us talking about the Office of Student Enrollment or the Office of Space Management, things like that, as well as other stakeholders to sort of address district needs and priorities. So this includes creating an annual strategic plan for each district that helps to outline and address those needs and priorities, and also to help identify opportunities and be responsive to those needs and priorities. We do have borough-based planning teams. So Julianne and myself work specifically for Queens, and there are other planners and analytics team members that work for specific boroughs. And we typically manage the engagement analysis and any sort of potential proposals for the district. So we believe that community engagement is a key part of the district planning process. That's also part of why we're here tonight. And we want to have what we like to say is meaningful dialogue with all of our stakeholders so that we can sort of, again, better understand and address needs and priorities at a, not just a district-wide level, but a very local, sometimes even neighborhood or school level, and then help to balance those between a lot of the different stakeholders that may be involved in any decision-making process. Again, we work really closely with superintendents, CECs, and school communities, and this allows us to have those sort of candid conversations about needs and helps us to develop potential solutions. So we're committed to hearing everyone's voice that may be impacted by a particular problem or need, providing transparent and accessible information so that you all can be participants and meaningful participants in this process, and also engaging with the community about the needs and ways to address them that feel specific to the community's needs. So one of the key components of our work is Chancellor's Regulation A190, and that governs the public review process for any proposal resulting in a significant change in school utilization. So that means that we help to handle the process around things like co-locations, truncations, school reciting, school openings, mergers, grade reconfigurations. So like going from a K to 5 to a K to 8, things like that. And there are a few things that legally we're required to do as a part of the A190 process. The first is publish an educational impact statement, or a BUP, and that outlines sort of what the problem is, what we're potentially planning to do, and how it will impact space in the building and how it will impact the community. We are then required to hold what we call a joint public hearing. It's a fairly structured process and formal process where we read the facts of what the proposal is. The superintendent or someone from their team attends. The impacted schools are all invited. And during that process, the community has an opportunity to make a public comment so that their feelings are on the record about any potential change as a result of a proposal. And those comments are captured in what we call the public comment analysis. That is, again, those comments are recorded in the public comment analysis, and then it is published. And it's given to the panel for educational policy before they vote on any proposal. And the last part of that process is arranging for that panel to vote. We at the Office of District Planning don't actually vote on any particular proposal. We put the proposal forward, and then the panel for educational policy votes on it. Without the panel for educational policy's approval on any proposal, it's not a said and done thing. They must vote and approve the proposal for it to move forward. The other thing that we handle in our office are school rezonings. That's Chancellor's Regulation A185. And that's a process that's also very collaborative, specifically with a CEC, because we are essentially redefining the geographic boundaries of a school zone. So that means that if a school zone can be changed to grow, to shrink, new zones can be created for a new school. And we have to work very closely with the community, with the schools that are impacted, to understand what some of those geographic barriers may be, to understand how that would impact students, and also with our analytics team to understand how many students may be able to be accommodated in building, how big can a zone be, how small it can be. So it's a very collaborative and data, but also community-driven process. And I would say that, the superintendent is also heavily involved in this process. And then the CEC actually votes on rezoning proposals for their respective community school district. So rezonings can accomplish a few different things. It can, like I mentioned, create a zone for a new school option, increase access to high quality schools, increase diversity in or across zone lines, alleviate overcrowding, or equalize and balance utilization across buildings. So in our office, our work can be somewhat cyclical. It begins sort of in the spring with a needs assessment. We compile and analyze data about every district to sort of identify areas of need. And then we meet with superintendents and other partner offices to review that data and further refine and identify district needs and priorities. We then meet with the CECs and superintendents to help share that district data summary. And we sort of provide opportunities to discuss that data together. And then we hold what we like to call cross-functional meetings so that we can continue to plan and discuss some of the data of what we've seen and gather some information from other vantage points. Then we have what we call the pre-proposal engagement that usually happens anywhere between the summer and sort of going into fall. Before we sort of put forward any official proposal, we start to meet with any impacted school communities, their principals, SOTs, the CECs, local elected officials, and other stakeholders, again, to further refine and gather a little bit more feedback. And then we want to refine any scenario or potential solution that we would put forward. Typically, again, moving sort of into the fall, winter time, we start to engage more deeply in that proposal process that I had mentioned earlier. So we would write the educational impact statement. We would post that. We would continue to meet and hold community meetings. And we would sort of then follow the steps that I outlined earlier for a potential proposal under A190. Now I want to talk a little bit about the data summary highlights that we found after compiling a lot of that, compiling and analyzing a lot of the data that we captured from the past year. So that is sort of like that second silo in our district planning process where we're presenting this now. One of the key things that we like to call out are some of the enrollment trends. So we saw that over the last 5 years, elementary school enrollment, that means grades K to 5, in District 24 schools decreased by 20%. So we found that the decline is driven by a 13% decline in K to 5 residents, but also an increase in residents choosing to enroll in charter schools or an increase in enrollment in District 75 and D79 programs. In terms of retention, District 24 has the 4th highest percentage of elementary school residents staying within the district for elementary school. That number is 73% are choosing to stay compared to the citywide average of 53%. So you all are well above that citywide average. Upon drilling in, we also saw that 6% of K to 5 residents enroll in a non-public school, 7% enroll in other District 1 to 32 district schools, and 11% enroll in charter schools. For middle school enrollment, we saw that over the past 5 years, District 24 middle school enrollment has decreased by 14%. That decline is partially driven by the 11% decline in 6 to 8 middle school residents, a small typo there. But also we saw an increase in residents choosing to enroll in charter schools and District 75 and 79 programs as well. So in terms of middle school retention, we found that 68% of middle school residents stay within the district for middle school. And again, the citywide average for middle school retention is 48%. So again, you are above that. You guys are actually the 5th highest. And then when we drilled and looked down more into it, 12% of residents enroll in other district schools. So other District 1 to 32 schools, and 12% also enrolled in charter schools, and then 6% enrolled in non-public school options. When we look at enrollment versus capacity, we are, seeing if there may be an excess or a deficit of seats, and if the district can meet the need of the residents who are enrolling in District 24 schools. So we found that on the elementary school level, there are about 22,600 seats available, and enrollment stands at 20,500 students who are enrolling. So there is an excess of about 2,000, just over 2,000 seats. Similarly, on the middle school level, there are about 13,000 seats, and there are just under 11,000 students enrolled. So there's an excess of about 2,200 seats. There's also the new building Q340 that's going to open this September with 451 seats. And this building will house a new elementary school, PS437Q, and it'll continue to phase in over the next several school years. There's also, like I mentioned, the excess of elementary and middle school seats across the district. The largest excess for elementary school seats is found in the sort of Corona, Lafrac, and Elmhurst neighborhood that holds just under 2,000 seats. And then there's a small elementary school deficit, so a lack of seats in the Glendale and Ridgewood neighborhoods. So even though there's an excess across the district, there can still be pockets of schools or pockets of neighborhoods that are in need of seats, or schools that may still be overcrowded and need some alleviation. On the middle school level, we found that the Maspeth and then sort of south of Woodside, those neighborhoods had a large excess of seats, as well as the Glendale and Ridgewood neighborhoods also had a large excess. In terms of District 75, we found that there was an increase on all levels. So elementary, middle, and high school has seen an increase in District 75 students over the last 5 years. Additionally, when we looked at sort of seat need and capacity and enrollment for District 75 students, we saw that District 24 does not have a District 75 seat deficit at the elementary, middle, or high school levels. You can see in the chart below, there's the number of residents in blue by each grade level, and then the amount of capacity or District 75 seats that are available. And each one exceeds the number of residents. However, we always continue to explore opportunities to open new District 75 programs in buildings that have sufficient excess space to, one, help reduce the travel time, two, to provide opportunities for students to attend schools closer to home, and three, because of the way that District 75 students are placed, not every single school has the services that a child may need. And so again, we know based on the other slides that the need for District 75 and 79 students continue to go up, and we will continue to look for opportunities. This here is just a very quick chart that we like to highlight. It shows the variety of special programs that are available in District 24. So for example, on the far right-hand side, you'll see the number of any particular program and how many exist in Queens. And then in that middle column, you'll see how many of those programs exist in District 24. So for example, there are school with bilingual ed programs. There are 87 in Queens. 25 of those are in District 24. And then at the end of this, we have a map with all of the school points so that you're sort of able to get an idea of the lay of the land where all the schools are located geographically. And, you know, in our presentation, we'll include that. And now we'd love to open up the floor to any questions that you all may have. That was a lot of information. So, you know, if you are, you know, still need time to mull it over or want to get the presentation and, you know, ask questions once you've had a chance to really sort of dig into it, you know, please feel free to send us an email as well. But we're definitely here to answer questions now if you have any.
Leah, you can hear me, right?
I can hear you.
Okay, so I have a question. So in our elementary schools, for special programs such as Nest and Horizon, we're at 147 seats currently. When we go to our middle schools, we have 39. Where are those students going?
For Nest and Horizon.
Yeah, for
Sorry,
Nest Horizon.
I'm hearing your question.
Here, you want to answer?
That's just good. I think my hair pretty clear.
I can hear you, but I feel like the audio is lagging a little bit. So I think what I heard is you're asking for the students who are in Nest and Horizon, you want to know where they're going. I think there was a second part to the question, but I'm just not sure.
Yeah, in elementary school, there's 147 seats. Then in middle school, we decreased down to 39. Where are those students going? Are they being mainstreamed? Which I doubt those many students being mainstreamed would be a very impressive number. But where are they going? Are they being sent out of our district now? Where are they?
I'm not sure. That's a question that we would have to send to the Office of Special Education. They would sort of track exactly where those students are going because they're in a, you know, a special program. But we can definitely follow up with them and see if we can get you that data.
You know, I think we
Okay.
also
Yes.
always are looking for opportunities to expand specialized programming. I would say the like two biggest hurdles here are space and funding. You know, typically we learn about funding for new programming in the spring, and then we'd look to try to identify space for available programs. I think one exciting update is that PS71 will open an Ames program in the upcoming school year. And so, you know, hear you in that there's fewer middle school seats than elementary school seats when looking at Nest and Horizon. So we can certainly dig in to see where those students are going for middle school now, and can continue to keep an ear out for any opportunities to expand programming to help meet some of the students' needs.
I know I also mentioned about the gifted talent program at 87, but your suggestion is to take that up more at district level?
To take that up on a district level.
Yeah, so what it is, several years ago, under the lead of Superintendent Chan, we advocated to have more gifted talent seats throughout our district. We agreed to open up 87 because 87 was a K-8. Since that time, it ends in 5th grade. I've reached out to the principal, spoke with Karen over there. She says, I have the space to do the whatever they call it, the middle schools, no longer gifted talent, it's screen program. But the school doesn't have it because it's not listed in the book. So what's happening is now those students are now going to a charter school, Middle Village Prep. So every year that school's losing enrollment for no reason when they keep enrollment, just by keeping up the promise that was made to us. That's what I just want to follow up on also.
Yeah, so we started looking into this, and we can definitely maybe send you an email with a little more information, but we have seen that, yes, some of the students are leaving the school, but there are maybe also that are choosing to stay, that are coming from the G&T program. You know, our office again looks at sort of enrollment trends, but also space and building utilization. And so, you know, questions about putting like a G&T program into a school, that would be sort of for the superintendent's office and then the Office of Student Enrollment, because they are the ones who handle sort of the special programming within the schools. Again, our role would sort of be able to tell you if there's space to increase enrollment out of school, or to, you know, to open different sections out of school if the building has enough space to accommodate it. And so I think, let me see if I can pull that out. Just give us.
Matt, just quickly to clarify, are you saying though that the school isn't listed as a screen program and that's why families are missing it?
It goes K-5, and then the screen program is not available 6, 7, 8, which
Gotcha.
was
Okay.
the agreement we had with DOE.
Yeah, they
Gotcha.
don't have a screen program and they would like to add one. Again, if,
We're not
you know,
looking- we're not looking
from,
at it.
sorry?
We're asking them to continue through the promise they made to us.
Or just continue it for 6, 7.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's
We're not asking for additional seat, we're asking the seats that were given us
Gotcha.
years ago under Superintendent Chan's leadership.
That's,
Yeah, so I-
you know, so. Yeah, I'm just gonna say that's something that definitely I will bring back to Superintendent Rivera. It's something, you know, in collaboration with the school, and seeing, the space, you know, Karen already told me she has the space, so we'll just, you know, confirm that with her, and then, you know, we have other middle schools that also have beacon programs, these, so it would be something like that, right? Exactly.
Yeah, I had a similar question. I'm kind of new to the council, so forgive me if I'm asking something that's obvious, but it seems to me like you're focusing on space allocation and we're not taking into consideration what Matt said. Various programs that certain schools have and certain schools don't have, whether it be G&T or whether it be, you know, kids with learning disabilities and they need more help. What I'm asking is, why don't we have a holistic strategy? Because as a taxpayer, it makes no sense that you're gonna keep building new schools when down 3 blocks down or 5 blocks down, there's a school that's underutilized. So I feel like, shouldn't there be an overall strategy to ensure that we're using the funds very effectively? Because, see, you know, capital projects are very expensive. Building a school is millions of dollars. Whereas changing a strategy to, you know, accommodate kids that learn faster or they need more help is a lot cheaper. So I'm just wondering, like, who's looking at this holistically? And maybe it's just, you know, teams working together to figure this out, because, you know, like you on slide 14, you had Glendale on there. And I believe, like, you know, maybe 1 or 2 schools are underutilized, but then I know for a fact there is a K through 8 school that is overutilized considerably. And, you know, all this affects, the class size, right? There's a law passed, the ship has sailed. You know, at some point you have to adhere to the law. And so how is that being accommodated?
Yeah, okay. So there are a few sort of questions, and I just want to align on what I'm hearing. So the first is looking at a holistic approach of how we're sort of assessing where buildings are being built. How is that sort of determined? Because programs are much cheaper than opening new schools. And then I'm hearing sort of a question regarding class size law, and how we are maybe planning for that. So I want to first start by talking about the difference between funding for programs and funding for capital projects. Those are in two very separate buckets, and typically don't necessarily overlap in the funding structures. One of them belongs to the School Construction Authority, and they are in charge of sort of procuring different sites for development and building schools, whether it's leasing a building or uh, constructing a new building or doing renovations. And then there's sort of funding every school year to open additional special programming. So
Right.
they live in sort of two separate buckets, and funding for the School Construction Authority isn't necessarily put towards programs. So, you know, that's sort of the reason why, even though it may be cheaper to open programs, the SCA's pool of money is completely separate and isn't used for that. Um, the second thing is I can touch on is how buildings are decided to be, you know, go under construction or developed or procured. Typically what happens is sometimes someone from the district, a superintendent's office, a CEC, might come to us and say, hey, like there's an open building. Are we able to procure it? We'd like to use it for a particular thing. Or the SCA might come to us and say, hey, there's a developer or there's a building that we found. Do we have a need for it at the DOE? When that happens, our team goes and we assess whether we feel like an area needs another building or needs additional capacity. So, for example, we may see that there are a few schools that are underutilized, and this new capacity that has been brought to us for consideration would sit right in the middle of it. And we may not choose to open another elementary school because all of the surrounding elementary schools are underutilized, and we're seeing that there's a decline in enrollment, and we wouldn't want to negatively impact the schools that already exist. So we may say to SCA, at this time, we don't necessarily need this capacity. On the other hand, there may be 5 schools in an area. One is underutilized, but the other 5 are overutilized or at capacity. We might say to SCA, yes, we think it's a good idea to add the school here because there are some schools in the area that need alleviation, or there are certain neighborhoods or pockets that are having an increase in enrollment or an increase in residents. And so we will need new capacity. And that is how, you know, some of the decisions are made to help bring new capacity online. After we sort
I
of
think
do,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right, I think that totally makes sense, you know, from a numbers perspective, but from the softer issues of how we teach kids. That has to align with the overall strategy because, you know, it affects how much money we spend overall.
right, I do hear and understand that, and I don't necessarily disagree. Um, it's unfortunately those things are in two different silos between where schools are, you know, determined to be built, and then sort of the instructional piece, which is sort of what happens within the classroom, with teachers and sort of developing different curriculum. So, you
I
know,
think too, just to add, if, you know, whenever there is a new building that's slated to open, we have a whole community engagement process that we would work through to collect feedback from the community on how that building could be used to best meet district needs and priorities. Because to your point, sometimes we need a program, but our limitation is space. And so if a new building is opening, we can explore opening specialized programming within that space, opening District 75, looking at what grade level might be needed, and all of that. I think to your point, like, we have the data and the numbers here on the page, but the part that is helpful when we engage with all of you is some of that anecdotal feedback around what are some of the needs and priorities that are coming up. And that's a really big part of the process too, and thinking about how we're using our space.
Right. And so a lot of the new capacity that comes online does have District 75 seats. I would say most of them do, some of them don't, but most of them have designated District 75 seats. And again, the addition of programs is something that we do look at as a part of our planning process, but some of it is funding dependent. And again, that funding comes from a completely different stream. And that process involves working with the Office of Special Education and looking to see sometimes where the highest need for some of those programs are, which schools have the space to accommodate those programs. And then again, after we sort of understand that, then the conversation usually moves with the principals and to the instructional side of implementing those programs.
Say something? So my son goes to this school and he's been 2 years in a row on the wait list for gifted and talented. And this is home to us. And I know that you said, it's the funding, but is there any way we can have funding where we can also have it in this school as well, the gifted and talented? Because you're gonna have, for someone who lives in a neighborhood, you're gonna have people who are gonna wanna go to 290 or 153 and more registration to these locations because they do have the gifted and talented, or they're in the parks and they're making friends and they're talking, and that's what we talk about, schools and junior high schools and high schools like that. And for someone like myself who considers PS 71 home, we don't have that yet. And again, my son he 2 years in a row gifted and talented waitlist, and it would be great to have the option to have that in pretty much all locations, because you're gonna have a higher enrollment in these other schools, and these schools like ours are gonna be overlooked because we don't have certain programs. So I think what you're saying is super valid. You're spending money on other things as opposed to in-house. And I'm sorry if I'm not making sense, but.
We're not criticizing Rhea, just so you
No,
know,
I'm just
what you
saying-
guys do is excellent. I mean, it
Yes.
totally makes sense, like how your thought process is and what you're, how you're, figuring out.
I just wanna tell you from my perspective of my son, we're looking at the wait list and we're like, oh, you're here, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, sweetheart. It didn't happen. Well, we love PS 71, he's getting the education, but you hear GT, we're in the library, we're talking, we're meeting at 93 Park, and it's like, oh, I'm here, and everyone's just dispersed, as opposed to trying to have it, everywhere, in every school. 153 is pretty far for myself. 290 is a little further out. It just, I'm sorry to say, it just feels, it's hurtful. It is a little hurtful because my son is, studying extra hard and wanting to learn more.
That's not an issue with district.
And he has his friends who are in other schools and they're like, oh, I'm in the gifted and talented, and we're applying. It's like, we would like to have that home here if, we could.
Yeah, listen, I definitely hear you. I'm not taking this as criticism, and I'm trying to sort of provide, what is sort of in our wheelhouse for locus of control in terms of how funding is. So I don't want to make it sound like, we're just spending money somewhere else instead of focusing on programs, just to outline that they're really two separate pots that don't intersect. And so the money isn't being misallocated to funding. It's just two different pots. And I think in terms of advocating for gifted and talented, I think that's great. I would definitely keep advocating for it. our office can help support in, you know, sort of letting you all know if there's space within a building to add those sections, because opening a program sort of comes with
Yes.
space that needs to be used.
So
We
great.
help support and letting you know about what your physical space can accommodate in terms of housing additional students, or if there's room for how many sections. But then in terms of adding the actual G&T programming, that's something that would live between sort of the principals, your school community, and the superintendent's office to add sort of that programming piece.
Hey, we've been looking to, so, you know, 290, as you mentioned, and 153 both have a GT program. And these three schools are pretty relatively close.
Yeah.
But the GT program attracts students from across the district, not just from the zone.
It's a similar growth.
Of the school, right? If you take a look at the numbers in terms of how many are waitlisted that are coming from here, and how many are also waitlisted, sometimes in 290, there are children that are also, they're full, and there could be children in the school that are not in the program, but could have been.
Yeah.
So just seeing around sort of this area, what might be the need, because it is possible to open up the programs there, it just is gonna be based on the amount of students, right? So if your child happened to be one of 3 that are in a wait list in this area, then that wouldn't be necessarily enough to open a class. Unless we were saying we're gonna, have students come in that were not part of, that weren't waitlisted, but we're just opening it up. It's not possible, and it's not impossible, but we have to look at the number.
I understand.
And
But I know if it's like number 21 or, 31, then there's a couple of guys that are, probably didn't come in because they're full. We actually went to 290 and we spoke to the principal and we told them, hey, my son is in the wait list and it's like, we're full.
So can I ask a question? Can we get a stats on how many kids pass the test? Because I can guarantee you that,
there's
You're
no
looking at-
testing.
okay, well, whatever the
It's the,
criteria.
Yeah, that's right.
The reason why I'm bringing that up is because, a lot of parents are not gonna send their kids far away if they don't want to. Like, for example, 49 is a fantastic school, right? And I can see that, a lot of parents would decide, okay, well, do I want my kid to take a bus? Or do I want I can just go to school, my kid can just go to school, it's not that far. It's a neighborhood school. There's a lot of kids that really not. That would like to have been in a different program.
Yes.
So, we need to look at that too, how many people are not in the program, but. Whatever
Right,
they
but
accept.
actually,
Yeah.
and so that, and where they are in the district also sort of matters, because if they're concentrated in one area, then you'll find that while there might be, the numbers are there, to your point, they're not willing to necessarily travel if
Right,
they're not.
but to give you an example, in,
Well, we just find out who's in district.
right, but in
Yeah,
our
so-
class, in 290, I'll just give you an example of our class, they live everywhere.
Yeah.
They live everywhere, so I'm a proponent of every school having a GMT.
It's kind
Because
of,
that's, it's like saying, okay, only smart people live in certain areas, that's not true. You know what I mean, like, that's, just doesn't make sense to to just make that assumption.
No, I agree.
Sorry,
I just don't to us.
how about Barbara?
Yeah, so Barbara has her hand raised, and then I also just wanted to clarify, so it sounds like what Ray is saying in that is that. The Office of District Planning does not inform the program.
No,
No, they don't, but people should talk to each other, like.
Understood,
There's
so what I'm
no
trying to understand is who does look at that data, so you said it was the district office in conversation with the principals, and they're looking at the data around how many people are applying to Nest, how many people are applying to dual language, how many people are applying to G&T, is that correct?
not so much for this.
Right, because those are specialized programs, so the funding for that comes from central, that involves more than just. But a program like a GT program where it's not getting separate funding, it's, just the first student funding. Could be a conversation again with need of the district, need of the school, of the students.
I'm
you
just
know,
wondering if that's why it's slipping through the cracks, because there's not.
It's sort of slipping through your cracks because of political climate also.
Well, that was the next piece.
'Cause a
Like,
lot of
we should
schools-
probably separate this, because I think there's some question, we asked the question of the chancellor as well of what is the future of GT? I don't know that we're gonna roll out a program to every school if
Or
they're
any school.
maybe changing.
Or even one school.
Okay,
Yeah, that's difficult.
I don't know that there's like hostility towards it. I think there's questions about the future of it.
Yeah.
And how could it be more equitable? How could it be at every school? Anyway, so I guess what I'm saying is maybe we table this till we have the right people in the room. and have
Yeah.
that
I mean,
conversation.
another component that's part of it, to your point about if students came from everywhere, is that once you're in that program, there's also busing that is attached to it. And so if every school, you can also imagine if every school, right, we have about 1,800, but I think it's like 800 elementary schools, if I'm not mistaken. Let's say they all have a GNC program and anyone can go. So they're.
No, so what I'm
So
saying
that's-
is, no. What I'm saying is, if your zone school has it, you have to go there. Why would you
Yeah,
not go there?
Right.
It doesn't make sense to me. That's implying that, oh, I'm sorry, 290 is better than 49 because what? Like teachers are great everywhere, you know what I mean? Like that,
Yeah.
to me,
I
the
mean, it's
logic
just
does
that-
not make sense. I think you're saving more money by not having a bus. And you're improving the quality of life of the kids, because they don't have to travel like 40 minutes, you know? And I'm sorry, the bus experience is horrible. Putting our kids through that horrible experience, it's bad, but anyway, I
Maybe
digress.
discussion we read here, which
I was
is
just
then.
gonna say, I think that at this
Yeah.
point, everybody agrees that the curriculum should be challenging for those kids who need it
Yeah.
and supportive for those
And
kids.
let's
who
continue
need that
this
support.
conversation.
Yeah, but the
Yeah,
term-
right, because we have,
Yeah.
had her hand
Um,
raised.
Barbara, yeah, you wanna,
Um,
you able to come on?
Yep, also.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey, Barbara.
Oh, okay. No, I just had a quick question for Maria and Juliana in regards to the decline that demonstrates on the graph. Like, what does the decline in enrollments mean for the future of our district? If there's anything that can be shared on that.
Oh, Ray,
You're muted.
Yeah, sorry about that. So, yes, we have seen a decline in District 24 on the elementary and middle school levels. I do want to say, though, that we've also seen a decline citywide. We know that even, this started happening before COVID, and then COVID exacerbated that, where families started leaving the city, as well as sort of like a declining birth rate. And we're hearing that across not just New York City, but many other cities. So there is definitely just a decline in the number of those aged residents that's happening. I think, and some of that is a little bit out of our control. The part that we are able to look at is the students who are choosing to enroll in other school options. So, there are some students who are enrolling in charter schools. We can look to see what is making some of those charter schools, popular or appealing to families, and try to replicate some of those programs in district schools. It could be that the charter schools have after school programs, or maybe the charter school has an art focus, whatever that might be that families are looking for. Trying to replicate that within a district school, or offer something that would attract families to the district school. In addition, there is an increase, at least at the elementary school, of kids going to District 75 and District 79 programs. That is because they've been flagged and have like an IEP. Some of those District 75 programs are still within District 24, but they're sort of pulled out of that number of kids going to school in District 24 because District 75 is listed separately. So there can also be a little bit of overlap there. But again, there's a decent number of students who are choosing to go to charter schools, and that might be where we want to look first. The second would be kids who are going to other district schools. So maybe you have a child in District 24, but they're choosing to go to school in District 30. You know, those are sometimes things that we would also have to look at, but I think that number was only 6% or so. So those are sort of the areas that we, yep, 6%. So those are sort of the areas that we would want to focus on. Oh, sorry, the number that enroll in other district schools are 7%, and then K-5 who are enrolling in non-public schools, so private schools, parochial schools, and the Catholic schools, we would maybe want to look and see where, like what might be offered at those schools and see if we can bring that to the district.
There was an earlier question too about class size law, just to quickly touch on that, that is also something that we're factoring into all of our planning when we're looking at space, making sure that there's enough space for schools to comply. So even though, you know, we may be seeing some declining enrollment, that's also impacting how schools are utilizing their space.
And also,
just, sorry, Ray, go ahead.
oh, I was also going to say, you know, to Julianne's point, and sort of to tie everything from the SCA that I mentioned before, where we're looking to build schools, is that as we start to implement class size law and see what schools can accommodate, and the number of students that can be accommodated in a classroom decreases, schools will need more space. So even if there's a school that is at 100% compliance or 70% or 80% or whatever it might be, once they take into account for class size law, we have to continue to look for additional capacity sometimes to accommodate those students, or look for other creative shifts to sort of help to utilize the capacity that we have available. I think that was one of the earlier points, is that we have some schools that are underutilized, and we are looking across the district, in every district, of how to better utilize those buildings so that we can help accommodate class size law. And also put other programs in there. I don't want to make it sound like we're not actively adding programs places. We do look at buildings that have excess space to add things like District 75, to add Ames programs, her Nest Horizon programs. It's just that some of those programs are subject to funding.
And my last question, I'm sorry, would be it for the example about looking at charter schools and like what they're doing and what's increasing, you know, that what's, you know, what is increasing their numbers, and therefore like that 11% basically. Is it this department that looks at that or takes that into consideration, or it's a separate department that would take a look at that?
Yeah, that's definitely something that we would work with some of our partner offices on. So,
Okay.
like I said, we've analyzed that about 11% are going to charter schools. We may be able to see which charter schools students are going to, but then we also rely on, you know, principals, families to help better understand why they're going to those areas. We sometimes would talk to principals to hear what they are seeing and thinking. And the superintendent's office as well, to support in understanding sort of what the feeling is on the ground. You know, outside of some of the engagement in forums like this, you know, we're not necessarily inside of the schools to hear why they're choosing a different school over another. And so if you all have any on the ground information or data or things that you're hearing about, you know, this school has a huge arts program that's popular, we don't have an arts program in District 24, that's something that we can help pass along to our partner offices to help see if they can implement programming.
Can I say
Great,
something?
thank you.
You know, one of the moms I know that is looking into Success Academy, that's a couple of blocks away. And we were talking and she was saying that, I don't know, but she said that the kids, their grades are no lower than a 70 average. They're 70 and above with their grades. And, you know, that's why she was interested in it, because she, you know, was worried about, that's why I think circle back to the, you know, the gifted and talented. I'm sorry, I'm nervous to talk in front of everyone, so. I'm sorry, but, you know, that you're asking, you know, what people say, but that's just someone I, you know, have spoken to, and that was her reasoning for wanting to do that.
Mhm.
Move a child.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, we're definitely the like part of what we talk about with the engagement is that we want to hear these things so that we can understand what you all as parents are feeling in District 24, and then how we can help provide data to support that, or who we can help you all reach out to get more information to support that. So if we're hearing that there is a large push for G&T, we can help partner with the Office of Student Enrollment to see where programs may or may not be able to be added, and help connect you with that team so that you guys can talk through that. Or I know the superintendent's here represented. Hi, hello, Jose. He's also hearing this, and because the adding of programs like G&T usually fall in collaboration with their office and the Office of Student Enrollment, all three of us sometimes might get on a call. We would provide information about space, and they might help to know at least that this is a big concern of the district. And anytime there's an opportunity to add any particular program, again, it can be discussed, and we would help support in understanding where's the space and where might need programming.
Question about the rezoning. It's really quick. It was a slide I saw that caught my eye. My question is, at what point is that something that you pursue? I asked because my children are enrolled in what I believe is now this tied for the second most over enrolled in District 24, PSI is 49. And there's two schools that bookend Juniper Park. One is significantly over enrolled and another I believe is under enrolled. And prior to COVID, I believe they were both around 1,000 students, approximately 1,000 students. PSI is 128, PSI is 49 now. PSI is 128 has a beautiful enrollment. I mean, now granted, kids left, they went to Catholic school. There was a variety of reasons, change in leadership. 49's leadership stayed the same. There's a million reasons why this happened. But my question is now, if my child is at 128, they're part of the class size, they're meeting class size. And at 49, we can't build. There's literally nothing we can do. So, I mean, I guess my question is rezoning something like that? Like, what is something, if we can't build, we can't get rid of kids, like what do we do? We don't even have rooms that, I know James, like he had mentioned, they try to keep our rooms and things like that, but even if you took a few of our specials rooms, which I think would change the integrity of the programs, there's just no room. There's not a single room in our school. And so my question is, in that situation, how are they ever going to meet the law? You know what I'm asking? Like, how does that change? Because 128 has, I think, 700-ish, I don't know, but 700-ish, and we are almost at 1,300. Literally same park, same neighborhood, 9 blocks apart. And it's just wild to me that depending upon where your child goes, and that's a different educational question, because you're calling education with a teacher who has less students, has to be, and from a hiring standpoint, you're a brand new teacher, where are you going? A school where you can start out with less children and really do your job. So I guess my question is that you guys, or is that someone else? And what does the school do when they're at that point? When the answer has consistently been, there's nothing we can do. This actually came up at a PTA meeting, and the answer was, well, the law is the law, but we're exempt. And it's like, I just feel like at some point that can't be the answer.
Absolutely. So I'm hearing a few things. The first is that there's a discrepancy. There are two schools relatively close together with drastically different enrollment. And you want to know when our office would pursue something like a rezoning, and also how is that sort of tied into class size law?
Yes, I mean, I don't know if it's rezoning because no one wants to switch schools. So
Yeah.
I don't know that is, because I know zoning, like that is a very touchy subject, and I understand, because what I want no, but I guess that's my question is that what ultimately your office will do? Or like what,
No.
no? Oh, well, that's
We're the
right.
only ones.
Oh, no, that's right.
We're the only ones who can do
Okay.
They can't come and see it.
Okay, so I guess is that what happens in that situation? You just continue to be a carve out until there are no more carve outs?
Yeah, so I can try to answer this on a
Rezoning the kids to 128.
But that's my question. I do wonder / worry about this.
Yeah, so I want to try to answer your question again, sort of holistically in a way
Okay,
that doesn't, I don't want to make it seem like any of these things would happen, but these are some
of
things
course,
that,
of
you know,
course, of course.
theoretically we would also think about our office. Um, you know, because we look at space utilization across buildings and enrollment trends, we are definitely, like I said, trying to better understand class size law and how that's going to impact space across buildings. And we definitely know that for a variety of different reasons, even outside of class size law, that there are certain schools that are overcrowded and some schools that are underutilized. And so we try to do a number of different things, even outside of rezoning. So one of the things that we look at, which happens across the city, you know, over the decades, we have seen um, neighborhoods, you know, explode with enrollment and with residents moving in to neighborhoods that have become popular, and other nearby neighborhoods, even blocks away, have become less popular for whatever reason. It's just sort of the trend in residential growth and shifts that happen across the city and across cities all over, you know, all over. Um, and you know, schools that once were bustling are now sitting, you know, somewhat under enrolled. While nearby schools, maybe, you know, the one that you're mentioning that your children go to, are now over enrolled. Um, in situations like that, sometimes we do look to see what programming might again draw families back to those schools. Sometimes we do look at the zone line. Maybe the zone is too small, and because there have been residential shifts in that area, you know, the number of students within that zone have just become smaller, and thus less students are going to that school. Um, you know, we have looked at things like sometimes it is a change in leadership. Sometimes it is a school has had a sort of reputation and parents want to go to a particular school because of, you know, the je ne sais quoi of it. You know, and some of those things are, you know, people driven, and so they require different solutions. Um, in terms of rezoning, we have used rezoning to help balance utilization across buildings. We have also looked to, again, use zoning to create new zone lines, or sometimes what I like to call is right size a zone. We have had zones, again, that were very, very large because there weren't a lot of students in the area. And so we had to draw these big zone lines to help draw enough students into a building. But when that area becomes populated, that school can no longer contain all those students. And sometimes, yes, we do need to redraw the zone to help to right size it. We would look at things like that and see if maybe that is one of the reasons why one school is overpopulated versus another school isn't. Um, and, you know, we could potentially look at zoning should that want to be pursued. But again, we would work very closely with the CEC to help to better understand sort of what the geographic barriers are. Why are people choosing to go to this school versus the other? Is it that there is something that is separating these schools and parents don't want to cross over? There can be so many reasons, and it may not just be one. It could be the leadership change and as a zone line question. It could be, you know, a difference in a neighborhood population change and a reputation or a program that's drawing them to another building. It can be very multi-layered. And so we would look to really understand what's beneath that, and then work with other offices and work with the CECs to help address, you know, some of those particular issues. And then again, in terms of rezoning for things like class size law, we don't necessarily have a mandate that says, you know, we're rezoning all these districts to support class size law. Um, However, you know, if there's a new capacity that comes online or new buildings that come up, we do create zones sometimes for those new schools. Um, and with everything that we're sort of doing, we are thinking about class size law and how it may impact that. And we would definitely look at school utilization, because typically new capacity will come online because there is an issue with overcrowding or because there is a need for a school in the area. And our goal with new capacity, even before class size law, was to help alleviate the schools that need it. So now there's an added layer of seeing what the utilization across those schools would be and could they comply with class size law if this new capacity comes online. And our hope is yes. Sometimes even more capacity is needed just based on how overcrowded a school is. And then we also look at things like the footprint to figure out, how much space does a school actually need. And so it can become very, very layered, but we do look at a number of different reasons as to why there's discrepancies between schools. And then as we start to understand it, we work with the different stakeholders that would best be able to address some of those issues. And where there's overlap, we definitely try to work together. And then for rezoning, we can use rezoning for a number of different reasons. Should a rezoning be put on the table for any of the identified reasons, or that's something that the superintendent and the CECs really want to pursue, we would talk further and we would do a lot of analysis to understand how a rezoning would impact the area. And then, as we mentioned before, the CEC actually votes on rezoning proposals.
Thank you. That makes it, I appreciate it. Thank you for the explanation.
Of course.
I said really two quick ones. So the enrollment data, is that going by the October 31st cutoff, or is that always being updated to the end of the school year?
It really depends on where we are in the school year. So a lot of times we like to use audited register, which is after that October 31st. If it's sometime like now in the summer, we use our analytics team and we sort of lean on them to give us updated projections. But it really depends on exactly what.
Not for the projections, for the actual numbers. Is
For the
that
numbers
using
and-
the 31st date?
For the
Yeah,
numbers of
for-
this data summary?
That is the October 31st.
Yeah.
Okay, and one more quick one. We've reached out to SCA several months ago about adding capacity at 119. They advised they'd be in touch with you. Has SCA reached out to you in regards to this project that we're requesting?
I can share. So SCA reaches out to us, on a rolling basis with, as Ray was sharing earlier, new buildings, potential additions, all of that. So we'll continue to keep you all updated as we hear from them on new potential projects. We haven't heard anything new on 119 at the moment, but definitely hear you in that being an interest. And to the earlier question, just about, schools that are tight, that need space, I think it's always helpful when we're hearing flags like that because we can flag for SCA, like this is a potential building that could benefit from an addition, capacity. It doesn't always have to be new buildings, it can be additions as well. So yeah, we'll continue to keep you all updated as we hear updates from SCA.
Okay, just want to follow up. SCA told us to take any conversation 3 months ago, so I'll verify. Thank you.
Are there any other questions that you have for us? Okay. If not, this is our contact information. I'll stay on for a little bit longer so that if there's anything that comes up, you guys have a chance to ask. But our contact information is on the screen. Please take down our emails. We're happy to sort of answer questions and if you have any, please send them our way.
Yeah, you have the slide deck, that's right.
No, I was just gonna ask, you emailed.
Thank you.
You have it? What?
The slide deck.
You presented it.
Oh, I thought you sent it to you.
No.
Sorry.
You can send it to us.
Oh,
Yes, so the question, sorry, Ray, can you send this slide deck to Janet so that she can forward it to the members?
Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ray.
Any question?
Thank you. This request, we need more bit of time.
Go back, Mr. Newell.
Please.
Nothing to move ahead with? Motion to adjourn?
Oh, yeah. So moved.
Second? Motion, meeting adjourned. We've had all. Anybody want to raise your hand?
Something about yes. Something.
Yes.
Stairs.
Yes.
Somebody talk about
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Or if members want to join, Janet, can you send a list out tomorrow to all the members of the committees list? And then have them reply back which committees they'd like to join?
Okay.
We don't have the list in front of us, so I think it's just easier at this point.
It's in the spreadsheet.
And you guys can look at it, you know,
Everybody has.
and we'll send a reminder out a week before the next month's meeting, and we'll approve the.
I had, the business meeting attendance sheet going this way. Did everybody get to it?
I gave it to
Janet?
Yep, I think we're
Okay, this is for the minutes.
Okay.
And this is for the candidate.
old business.
Okay, thanks.
No old business.
Well, I guess I have a question. I'm not sure where. I'll ask it. Let me know where it goes. Okay, I wanted to talk about the September agenda and the October agenda, just so we could start like slotting in some of these topics, like clearly gifted and talented. We should have a conversation at some point, figure out the right people to be in the room to have a conversation on that. What is on tap for September, October? What are we planning?
So for September, once we get a list of our committee members, our committees, we can then come up with resolutions. You know, one resolution is putting cursive back into the school district, having that written to the CEP. So we can have once we get a list of people who want to be on the resolution committee, we can call that committee meeting before the next meeting and have that discussion and present the resolution to all the members, make changes. At the next meeting, we can also present that. The discussion around PSIS 87, I'd like to have about extending that up to the 6th, 7th, 8th grade. Why should a school lose one student? Doesn't make any sense. We're trying to get enrollment here in the district. Yet we're sending people to charters. Makes zero sense.
Sorry, so that's the gifted and talented, right?
For the extension to the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Yeah.
I did speak with the principal there. I got in touch with her parent. She's the one that actually told me about the problem there, and she said she wants it. So she says there's space, she'll make space no matter what happens.
Yeah.
You know, as far as getting transportation in, September's gonna be a tough one because they're still going nuts. But I think we're in good shape. Does anybody else have contact with busing issues?
It's coming.
No, you have it, right.
Yeah?
The exceptions,
Okay.
the exceptions are already put in, they're being denied. Yeah,
Like, for example, does everybody have access to the app?
yes, so the
So
app
that's
is,
sort of rolled out, and everybody has access to it?
yes, if your child's on the bus, you do have access to it. The new system is called the tap in, tap out. That is being 229 in our district. It's only about 8 schools in the whole city that are trying this with child. This busing tells us it's amazing. The busing coordinator is 229, saying that it's pure line to is frozen. So, once we get further along with that process, we can reach out and have a constant call with the busing coordinator 229 independently as a board. And get more input before we meet them to get a true feel for that, make it a best approach. Other issues, well, on the agenda. Also, this is a meeting we want to have in public, a discussion in public, or we want to do it out of check-in, is meeting with the superintendent.
Oh, yes.
I mean,
What is it?
I know CEC that have discussion with the superintendent.
Yeah. So I think last month Donna said we should email her, so I can follow up and just get that on the calendar. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I think we should.
What?
But I think definitely more.
Yeah, just even go to the district office, sitting down there, one-on-one and open discussion, not so much here. It's actually it's at 61, there's 2 offices right now. They're in the midst of relocating. Johnny, you know where they're going?
I don't even know where they're going.
Yeah, they're moving to 13.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Doing that.
They're all going to 13? Oh, wow.
Yeah, because right now there are 2 different schools. It didn't make any sense to have 2 locations in the district.
Oh, that's
Thirteen
good
is
to
when we
know.
did like our team building stuff, right?
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that.
No?
No.
No? It's not.
Oh, PS 13.
Didn't we go
Wow.
to the meeting 13?
Yeah.
We went there for some,
We
right,
did.
yes,
So, yeah.
13
Yeah.
is where we met, Donna had the office, Shelley was here, anyway, right?
Yeah. That's where we met,
Yes, and
yeah,
I was like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember doing that.
I'm not surprised I'm wrong, but where was I? Okay, so that's where they're all. Okay, so
Oh, wow, they're going to
Yeah,
13.
Portland's awful.
Yeah.
It is very nice, like, have their office here.
Yeah, so we got that. Any other issues we could put on the agenda? I mean, there's stuff that have been lingering in somebody's
Yeah.
minds that they want to get out there.
So I guess my one, oh, go ahead. So you were saying IS 87, I wonder, would we want to have like a dedicated meeting or time about G&T in general? Or do you want to separate them?
I would probably separate it out
Okay.
because under the way the DOE currently is running, it's going to be very, very difficult to get different talented schools, classes, specifically having the teachers with the extensions come in and get that extra funding. I think it'd be very difficult under this administration because they want to eliminate different talent and do baccalaureate, which is another educational program. That's what they're trying to do with whole shit too. So
Well,
it's
I guess
still-
what I'm saying is
still in the middle there.
I feel like it would be very interesting. I mean, yes, talking about G&T is important, but then like, it'd be interesting just to understand more about International Baccalaureate or like what other programs are, what are opportunities for kids to engage in accelerated learning, like, and get the right people in the room for that.
That'd probably be, I don't know, what Deputy Chancellor to fall under. Maybe voting. As far as,
Okay, it's a district, if we want it, and the rest of everybody else doesn't want it. We still have it. That's the bottom line.
But I guess that's what I'm saying is like, we should have that conversation and also understand, like, maybe we're asking, yes, G&T is popular, but if there are other options available that are more widespread that could also fill the need, like, it's not either or, like, it doesn't have to just be.
yeah, so I would separate that conversation out from
Okay,
87.
understood,
Then
understood.
87, let's just get, it's that extension put in.
Yeah.
Then have another discussion, totally independent one as well.
Yeah, I would agree with what Ollie is saying, the problem is,
But-
if it's not within the what we can do, then, you know, I mean, like, I would love to have that discussion, have that strategy. But at the end of the day, if they're telling us that this is decided on, you know, POC up there, and we have no say in the matter, then why are we wasting our time on something that we can really?
Because that's when the CEC have to band together as united voice
Right.
and advocate for it, as we did. There is wiggle room.
Hope that even our district.
So several years ago, Superintendent Chan, the CEC went to, said, we want more different town. They came back and said, we're giving, see what the DOE with all the channels, okay, you guys are advocating for it because they're allowed. He said, we'll give you 3. He said, we don't want 3, we want 6. They came back there and gave us 6 because it was hitting the media. Parents are coming out saying, I want this. What the other districts want is for the other districts.
Yeah.
We advocate for this. So that's what it come out to, advocating with parents
Right.
to get people to come forward, do petitions, and advocate on behalf of it. That's the only way it was a motion.
Real. Like, so when I was in school, we didn't call it names. There was some, for example, it's during 7th grade, 7-1, 7-2, 7-3. And, you know, if you can learn faster, you just happen to be in 7-1. But then next year, you know, depending on your grades or how big on the test, maybe you don't learn 8-1. You know what I mean? Like, it was very fluid. And but that's how they were teaching the kids in more accelerated fashion. If you were in session one or 8-1, you know, and that's how it was done. But nobody like made a big deal about it. Put labels on it and all that kind of stuff. I mean, ideally, that would be nice, right? But the problem is, you know, it seems like that should be said. We keep labeling everything. And, you know, as a team, it'd be nice to like check boxes off, like we successfully did this. It would be incredibly disappointing if you later when nothing was happening during the day.
How about a training on how to properly advocate for these programs?
Well, but I guess what I'm asking is, can we maybe for October have, like, ask the different departments, again, I have to do more research to understand who, but like, have a robust conversation so we understand, so we can educate ourselves, what's so. But I'm saying not, I don't want to advocate for a program that may be being sunsetted. I want to understand, like, what is the latest from our district and from the city, and okay, so I feel like that's what we should do for October.
Yeah, as I say, we'll bring.
Great.
We'll try to get somebody from the deputy chancellor's team in.
And then
to explain.
parents who are interested can come and learn.
You don't want to have different councils. What's the vision moving forward?
Right.
You know, that's, yes, exactly.
Perfect. And then I guess what the other thing I wanted to discuss is the role of tech in school. You know, we passed a number of resolutions advocating for a screen-free week, advocating for grade band regulations on screen usage, and also asking for more regulations around AI. So my recommendation is that we dedicate a meeting to follow up on those and again, ask questions directly to the right people. And I haven't had a chance to like do that research to figure out who that is, but that was my recommendation for September or a different meeting.
I thought we were October because right now they are silence.
Yes.
They are mum. I'm gonna call the guy the chancellor. It was all about that.
Yeah.
Just radio silence. There's no more, we're coming out with,
right, they're like holding on everything.
It's just silence. You know, because we were supposed to have that in June.
Yes.
We were supposed to have the guidance in June.
Yes, and they
red
paused.
light, green light, purple light, you know. That just, and they saw that path they were taking, got a lot of pushback.
Yep.
I don't think they know how to react to that pushback still to the state. So asking them right now what their future is, it's gonna be.
It could be.
And,
It could be a good opportunity for us to say what we want. Yeah.
Believe it or not, they have stopped. Because you cannot, if you want to do anything, new contracts, anything, they're all suspended. So it's halted. So it's stopping them from moving ahead, which is a good thing.
my thing is, I always have a sense of skepticism when there's been a big rush to implement something and then it's stopped, and then there's radio silence. Like I take that radio silence to mean when we're trying to find a way to circumvent things, the wall, basically.
I
So
think,
like I said, I'm just very skeptical about the fact that whether it's truly molded or if they're trying to move over. Right, or they're trying over, right, so I'm just wondering if they're trying to move over.
but as far as on the school level, it's whole.
Yeah.
It's definitely whole.
Okay.
About that. You know, the only thing we can do is work with President's Council and try to get that meeting, a training with them. Because like my school, we already have tech 3D starting this year. We wrote it into our CEP. We had our principal went out to survey every teacher in the building. How much screen time do you get? How much do you get? They came back with us the sheets and we said, no, not acceptable. We're cutting it down to this.
It's a training people on the CEPs, this is crazy.
But that's your back door in. That's your back door to change that school to CEP.
Yeah,
That's
but people have to see the CEP.
Yes, and that's where we're gonna have that training for.
Yeah, but-
Cases training.
It's of education, it's the thing that principal does.
Yes.
Schools like mine need to see.
If, right, if the principal, they're saying, well, we don't need to do they're not really.
We did know that access. That's why I just.
Well, I was gonna say, I would raise that as your CEC member, I'd be raising that right here, the superintendent.
So, but
So that's what I'm saying.
He denied.
Should we have that conversation in a meeting?
No.
You just said that. What would you raise? Sorry, I don't understand.
So no.
Yes, that's.
Hold on, I get your conversation, hold on.
Okay, I'll wait. I'll pause. I'll wait. Go ahead. Go ahead.
She's making it really, yeah, I've had that experience as well. And it seems like it's complicated.
That's the only reason we got anything done.
When we invite the SLTs, because I feel like.
That's how, here's what we can do.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, separate meeting.
as the president's council, so the school or DOE can now release us the SLT emails. Not allowed.
Okay.
We tried that. The easiest way to do this is have a meeting with the President's Council. President's Council has a seat on the SLP.
Right.
They've had the contact with those family members who work with PTA, invite them to a town hall.
Okay.
And then we do it. It's us. It's just parents in there and tell them here. So you gotta
So
understand.
like when you said that today, that this meeting should like respectfully not have administration.
No,
Because
no,
not for
people-
nothing.
Parents,
That I never had a login to the iPlan portal
I never even asked.
until I went to the training. They mentioned it, I went back to you and you went, yeah, you should have it. I'm like, I've never seen the CEP.
Because I had to ask myself. I had to find out if I'm allowed that.
So
Yeah.
it was just like,
I already had access. So my SLT had access to the CMP. They didn't even have SLT emails because the principal said, we don't do that.
and yet parent engagement is supposed to be that, and there's on the DECP and CEP, it's lip service, it's a joke.
Well, the DCP still come.
Right, no, but you know what I'm saying, I'm saying parent engagement.
Yeah.
Parent engagement is on this, it's on this, but it's just the, yes.
No, I agree, but I think we can reach out to.
That would change things like this tech thing, like what Aaliyah is saying, look how you did it at your school. We've never even, I have not.
That's how you back doors.
But 5 years on SLT, I've never had a single input from one single thing on the CEP for 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's.
Yeah, so that's what, we have to have a
But yeah,
workshop with parents moving
CEC,
forward,
that'd be awesome, done.
and we'll get guidance.
And I saw it myself, parents started checking out.
Yes.
I
Oh,
saw it
100%.
when the principal keeps walking.
Yeah.
But then,
Yeah.
that part,
Parents check out.
that
and say,
part-
what am I sitting here?
but that part we cannot change. They need to
No.
have their own voice, we can give them the guidance, you beat the horse to
But
water.
they need to know they have some.
Yes.
But hold on, because I feel like, okay, so at my school, the principal said, oh, well, Central is mandating XYZ. And they said, like, go to the CEC meeting, like, go, and as a CEC member, I was like, that seems weird. But that's what I'm saying is like, I think there's just a runaround. I don't think people are actively like blocking. Well, okay.
Yeah, every school's so different.
Every
Yes.
school is different, but that's what I'm saying is like at the CEC, we could like provide information to dispel myths and just like say, this is what's actually happening.
Yes.
And then this is what is available to you. You could advocate for your school to do with your teachers. You could do
But
this,
they
you could do
also
that.
need to support from the district when they're getting a hard time from the principal. And I find that that's where it's really lacking too. They reach out with support and there is none. And that's problematic.
Okay, so what do we think this looks, sorry, I'm just getting lost. So what do we think this looks like in September or October?
For the workshop,
Yeah,
I'd like so first week October.
and so this would be not our meeting. This would
This is
be,
not our meeting. This would
Okay.
be through President's Council would invite us to their town hall. This are not violating open meetings law.
Right.
okay.
We're their guests.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, and it would not be open to parents. Is that it?
Would it be, no, would it be open to administrators or anybody else?
Oh, okay.
Oh, just parents.
Just
That would be
parents,
great.
Any parent want to join.
Okay. Cool, and then we could like report back on it at our meeting, like share out learnings or next
It's
steps.
pretty much a training for them. You gotta be a voice. You've got to speak up. If you don't speak up, you're not gonna get it.
Right.
But so.
Okay, I'll take that on. I'll schedule that. Is that the right step? Is that what's
Yeah,
next?
but just send me out,
Send you an email.
just send me an email of everything and I'll coordinate with you. I'll go back and forth. We'll find
Okay.
who does what, who's in the deputy chancellor. We gotta get the right people.
Great.
Our next meeting is at what site?
87, September 22nd.
Okay.
Now, you need a location for October 27th.
So the next meeting is at 87. We're gonna go over the CEC basic work with this meeting. Ready, promise us in June, it's starting. Having a bunch of a screwdriver is not even brought in. The one issue we did raise. Yes, so that's why I put it, coordinate both from there.
But maybe would it hurt to have Karen invite people to come and speak? Yeah. Like, well, my point is, would it hurt to try to entice some of these, like, maybe fifth grade parents to come and, you know what I'm saying? We could get more people to maybe.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that be the perfect way to say, hey, guys, look, this
I
is
look-
what we're-" do you know what I mean? Because you're right, people leave 87 and they go straight.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
crazy agenda, you know, you put like a topic to it.
Yes, that was the next step for
Yeah,
sure.
'cause I think
We should
it's-
do that.
I think it's a really huge.
My thing is that I've talked on some facilities where they're perfectly fine. And so I want to know why he feels
Yeah, because.
that is an appropriate form, complaints about principals when it's really something.
Well, they can put this down on the bottom.
What, I can't speak on his behalf yet, but the thing is here is kind of, as I've been told by other people, we did, 77. You're the shame, yes, like the CEC.
They can shame you. It just,
But they said,
right?
how come we went to CEC, we got no action from you? Well, I'm sorry, we can't do action.
But that's superintendent here is, he's here to listen to those complaints about the schools. So it's not
And-
CEC who has to take action, it's someone has to take action.
Yes, and also, we can't talk about personnel issues in front of an open forum.
That's when he can sit, listen.
Oh, he listened,
Yeah.
he listened, that's all you can do.
No, he's really good.
He listened.
Really good. But my general feeling was that he felt that it should have been an offline thing instead of.
I think he was saying that he couldn't respond, is what I heard.
Yeah, I don't want to do them, that was easy, that's enough. 77 was rough. It's like they want answers out of us. I know. I can't get involved with personnel.
Right. There's nothing-
I don't know the background, it's not our place, it's not our forum. You know, that's what we kind of tell them. Well, that's not right.
Yeah, if you don't think it's appropriate, maybe something, my thought is, you heard what they said, and I think a lot of it, when we go on these calls, a lot of it was lip service, but in theory, they said, well, we want to hear from people. So if we had a group of people come to our CEC meeting to say, hey, we want GOT from 6 to 8, I think it would be a good look. That we had this meeting now, and oh, look, it just so happens we're at 87 in September, and look, we have parents come.
Well,
I
that's
really think she could get, if you could reach out to her.
Because that's what the emails are about. That's what replied. The parent says.
Yes,
I hadn't had it.
yes.
That's why I said,
Yes.
and that's why I said no, you know.
But let's
Yeah.
let's get some parents that come, and then we can say what you said.
That's why we can get Karen.
Okay,
In
perfect.
August, July.
Yeah.
Get
But
that
I'm
deal
saying,
moving.
if we can get, you can get her to get some of
Oh,
them
yeah.
to come and put some more faces.
Yes,
on,
yeah,
Other
Karen,
than just us, you know.
yeah, principals, no
Okay.
problem.
All right.
So just one quick list is the site for Hall of Science.
Oh,
So Hall of Science can provide the site.
right.
They have to get chairs and stuff for us to set it up.
So it wouldn't be the auditorium?
What we're gonna do, if we're gonna use that site, kind of suggesting we don't use it right now. We kind of push it off to possibly May,
I think that's awesome.
and during May, we do like an awards event. Because I mean, it would look pretty bad on our behalf, if we get the Hall of Science
No one's.
and say 12 people show up.
Right.
I rather do it in May, instead of doing monthly awards, we could do a May awards presentation to PTA members.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, Manisha's gonna be happy.
Yeah, so I think we're both, we don't wanna go out there, the Hall of Science, put up chairs and stuff, and we sit there with 6 people.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so I figured we'd hold it for a special event in May.
Which would be
for
great.
PTA members,
That's cool.
and by then we'll have kind of an adjustment on the budget possibly, where we could possibly buy food or have, you know, all the school nutrition systems.
That's cool.
So I think that's a better site. So now we gotta pick a site to replace the Hall of Science
Yeah, October.
October.
for October. Do we wanna do 113?
Oh, we can do it. Oh, gosh, why don't we do it then?
Let's do 113.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They have issues over there regarding fiscal year,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah.
On the arts and sciences, is 16, I really think that we can have. I know the department is for this. I know the department is not this, but I really feel like we need to move towards that side.
You should do a couple of them now for crazy weather time. Oh, right now.
Well, you gotta go winter. You can't do summer months, because everybody's at the parks over there, it's just that,
Yeah.
everybody's house.
That's fine, but I don't want to get smacked. with
The snow.
Yeah, but if people can research out of site, possibly school the parking lot. You know, because we have members still in here now, at 6:15.
Right.
If they're still on the parking, it'll be 6:50 a night.
Yeah,
We
so we
can't set a meeting at
have.
6:50.
Also, that one, possibly important, possibly it's not existent.
What about?
Yeah.
Well.
It's on that
this
list.
Next door is 61, we've got 61.
It's 1916.
You used to 11 to 41.
211 is gorgeous, it's literally 61.
Oh, yeah, right now, 61.
211 is beautiful, and I feel like she would be open to it. It's like-
It's due November there.
No,
This we can park on the
14.
we can park. We can go over the playground for the
16,
park.
19.
November, we have listed here 437, is that?
So one.
Yeah, that's the new,
November 37.
That's useful.
that's the new school.
But do you want to do the sit up for 211?
Yeah.
I mean, in theory, there's parking.
Sure.
So,
Yes,
December 211?
yeah, because it would be December or we hold around.
Yeah.
So I don't think they want to scroll 10 blocks from the park.
Yeah.
We're both in the school, but-
December 211.
Okay, so we're good on dates till the end of the year.
All right.
Which one was November? November is Q West, which is the
Oh,
one on
Q West.
Queens Boulevard.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
The those who come out.
I mean, the parking is iffy, but it's still not horrible. Most of the people are walkers,
Okay.
and I can walk there.
Hmm.
You know, and that school is opening up, next week,
Yeah, how
Oh, great.
exciting.
so there'll be.
September 10th.
Monday. No, Monday, she's allowed people into her school.
Yes, and the teachers will be setting up and stuff like that, right? Hopefully.
Still hoping. Yeah, Dawn would be over there. You know, 2 days before school starts, helping with the library, so if anyone's available to help her. I'll probably be able to opening day, I'm in contact her every day just about having issues, so work with her.
How is enrollment? I meant to ask.
Still
Low.
tough, still up.
Yeah.
But there's so many
So
sites.
new, yeah.
We got 229
Right.
down the street. I mean, 229 closed one site, one classroom, but it didn't still help it. So next year, we had to close 2 at 229.
But it's also probably still people don't know
And they weren't
about.
allowed to go.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so once you're in there, tour the building, people love new and fancy, and she's a great principal.
I mean, it looked great, yeah.
Yeah, I think she has not even put one foot in the building yet. So you
Wow.
see the exterior, so.
Yeah, when you drive by, it's nice. It looks like it's nice.
Yeah. Excuses, excuse has night excused.
Oh, should we talk about liaisons so that we can get started?
What we're gonna do is, so for the liaisons, or send. Just what we can do is we add an Anisha here next month, in case they want to give up a school or trade a
Okay.
school. We get a list, we'll ask them beforehand, you want to keep what you have, you want to give it up. Because regarding the liaison schools, it's. Once we go in there, one visit a year, that's not the liaison purpose. Like, it's to be in there, busing issues, they're supposed to be calling you.
Yeah, totally.
If you see I get emails from members saying, oh, the playground here is bad. You're there. You're the liaison.
Right.
Advocate for that school. And that's like.
No, yeah, so that's why.
Like getting guys away from. Read the politics. See what the person wants. That's the true thing. You should have like once a month contact with the liaison principal, at least once a month.
When I suggested that at the meeting, I said, I want to establish monthly meetings, not only with schools, but with PTA presidents. And she's like, oh, that's taking away from us.
I think she was saying,
I
I think she was just saying that you can't require that of
They
the
don't require it.
principals.
But if you have a good working relationship,
Right.
So I need to establish that relationship.
that's it. You have to-
No, you're welcome to do that, Julie.
It also depends on the relationship the person has with the person, liaison. That's what it's all.
There's a couple changes on here, should I email Janet or like?
Well, that's why I was saying, can we just,
It's a little
Take-
wonky, this list.
yeah, maybe just take 5 minutes and double check who's on who, so
I'm
that.
not even sure all the school.
Mine are correct, it's just the Leah's is not as 73, 78.
Yeah.
Other than that, one.
But the one on the website is correct.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what
Okay,
Yeah.
so I just double checked it and I removed,
This I was just fooling around with something.
that's fine. So it looks like, is this correct? I'll just say it out loud. It's 89. These are the ones that I think are open. 89, IS 113, IS 119, PSIS 128, PS 239, PS 305, and 331Q. Wait, the Mosaic pre-Ks don't have.
No, but Mosaic pre-Ks, I kind of represent them. They're not part of our system,
Right.
but they have no voice when it
Okay.
comes to like SCA and stuff.
Sure.
So I kind of took on the 19 site.
You're right back.
Do it for them.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'd be happy to help you with that, especially given I have an interest in pre-K. And then the new school also is open. Is that, so any of the ones that I listed, is somebody actually the liaison for those? Okay, so those are. Okay, I didn't.
120, that was.
128 was supposed to be me, but then she never got back to me,
No, it's open. It's open.
So it's open, it was supposed to be Elizabeth, she gave it up, I said I would take it, the principal net training, I emailed numerous times. And then I finally was like, okay, and honestly, I was overwhelmed at the time, so then I just let it go by the wayside.
Yeah, I think we go through it,
So definitely maybe.
and then what's
probably once-
Alan wants to give one up.
Okay.
Yeah, he said it about this.
Yeah, 143.
Because that-
That's yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at your website, your document. Julia.
Yeah, that one has the section of
Yeah, that's correct. This one I just picked up and sent it to really what's called.
And don't forget, you need to write your bios, Kate. You're a little, like, you're 2 years late.
I mean, I'll the election maybe.
And Bobby, you have to send a picture. And
Oh, that was the other thing is.
I'll send you an email.
Bobville, what is the right email that you'd like us to use?
Oh, she has a new one. It's,
Oh, this is.
yeah.
Okay.
CHAVICEC24.
Jen, just Tori, on your list, just send out all members. Bobby's email.
Yeah.
Bobby C.
CEC24.
Great.
I'm just gonna write you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Not a problem.
So then,
No.
I feel like bringing this up because I was sitting over there. I'm just trying to understand when you guys interview candidates. What is the criteria here? Because I don't see a lot of parents volunteering to do this. Word gets out that you're interviewing parents and then not allowing them to. It's a volunteer position. It's not like somebody's interviewing for a $200,000 job. So I'm just trying to understand, like, what is the criteria and why? What, like, I don't know. If, sitting on that side, it feels like, what are you guys looking for? What is happening here?
It's a question I honestly can't reply. I can't even answer it.
Asking everybody.
Yeah, my answer is,
Just asking
anybody that puts effort to come to this meeting, to sit down there and say, I want to volunteer while we're sitting there vacant seats,
Yeah.
get out.
Exactly.
Because you're not banging down the doors to get in here.
That's the. And the other candidates that I interviewed with, I thought they were perfectly fine,
Oh, no, they got it, they all left.
Jumped out of this before.
They quit before they got on.
Before the meeting? Before the meeting, they sent that email saying, I don't have time and there was always no back to school.
Well, maybe because they felt like.
That was the first interview. No, those were personal things.
Oh, okay.
One
Yeah.
after school, one, yeah, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like we parents are knocking out our doors and saying, hey, I want to go school and do this.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you have a vacancy at your job, you take first person position.
But that's not supposed, this is the volunteer
I understand,
position.
but it's still the same time as written methods.
But we're getting nobody to join.
You're not, you
We're
don't have
in
to.
school now.
Thing is, with fit doesn't matter to me, because all of our kids go to school and
It doesn't matter.
and we all need to get along together.
That's why fit matters.
Yeah.
Just in regards to fit. When we all ran, we never sat down and talked to each other and saying, I think you're right for you should do it. But people say.
Yeah, but you were voted, you were voted in.
Yeah, but the thing is, I didn't know you guys. I don't know any of you guys. So I'm taking a risk by coming here and saying, yeah, I want to be part of this group.
And the risk is
So
on
then
our
how
side
do
as
you
well.
guys?
The risk is on our side as well.
I know, I feel like we should all do this. I mean, work together.
Ladies and gentlemen, my husband is a former CEC member. So,
Hello, husband.
Bill, say hello.
Yeah. We built the book. We built 149.
Yeah, they put a whole bunch of schools together. We had about 13 schools and then now we have 41.
Yeah. Record hopefully. But no, I agree. It's, if the person doesn't take a seat, they don't like it.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, I just think it kind of deters people from coming
I
there.
think it's unfair to say that we need to be more kind. I'm one of the people that said no, I'm a very kind person. Yeah. I'm one of the kindest people you want to be kind. However, like Melissa said, it is important. We don't have to align with everything because we don't. All of us cannot align with everything, but we align better than previous councils, which Matt has said any time before. But the reason why fit matters is because there are a lot of things that are talked about here that are important to our children, that are important to specific types of people that are in our families and our friends, and we don't want to hurt those people by voting somebody in that doesn't agree with certain things.
And we're not talking about political alignment, because that's not where I'm going with this. But if someone is actively talking about disposing and defunding the DOE, which is what you're going to go do something for, it's problematic. And it's something that I think should have been brought up. That's why I brought it up. I mean, my child is in a horizon program. He's a marginalized kid because he's autistic. He's Hispanic and he's autistic. That's already two groups that he's been placed into. And I hear it every day because he's Hispanic and because he's autistic, how the world is going to treat him different. So I don't feel comfortable voting someone in that's okay with disposing the DOE. What happens to my kid if the DOE gets disposed? Or what happens to kids like Tommy? I need to, you know. I hear what you're saying.
However, he gave you an answer.
He did.
And that was his.
It wasn't, and I have my reasons. And because I am a kind person, I didn't bring their reasons.
I think that there's merit to both, to be perfectly honest. This is one of the kindest people I've ever met. I don't think it's unnecessary. I understand what you're saying because you've been on the other side of it. But to be perfectly honest, I think perhaps our interview process should be better. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe because I felt the questions were very, I know in person. So full disclosure, I know in person. I like to read up church family. This is very awful. By me abstaining, that was the best choice. Because I wasn't going to vote him down, but we have you on board now. We're almost complete. Hopefully we're gonna have another Queensboro appointee. If you would see how the previous council works, it was insane. We have a good thing going, and I felt that given several things that had come to light literally within the last few minutes, I couldn't, in a clear conscience, I couldn't vote yes. But knowing him as I know him, I also couldn't vote no. So for me, abstain was the middle of the road, and then if the other members of the council felt yes, then I'm okay. And if he ultimately gets voted in, I'm still okay with that. But I have to have my conscience, and I'm also a very kind person. And I'm gonna have to send him to church now. I know his wife, I know his 3 kids. I also find it odd that the application says there's 2 kids, 128 when there's only 1. Maybe it's an oversight, but it could be a typo. But I'm just saying, like, I'm going to see this data. I know, I see it every week. So when I say there's merit to both, I think there's merit to both. But I get what you're saying. It's not like people are beating down the doors, but we also are all very busy, and I don't know how many of us have gone through trouble to try to keep on board. And I think we can all say safely that a lot of the politics at this table are very different from yet. We still work very nicely together, but we almost have a full council. We're very close. And I guess we vote again on it.
To be fair, this is something we spoke about. I don't think any of us are really comfortable with being the ones to have that deciding factor. I think that's like something that we all kind of believe in, and I know that it was spoken about, where we don't think that this should be our responsibility. Just like people voted in, we really should not have to say yes or no to a parent that's going to be voted in here. It should be phased.
No, let's just stop right there. What authority as members do you think FACE has over this?
Well, I don't know.
See, that's the thing.
No, but see,
FACE-
I just think it should either be a vote or it should just be that there is no vote and anyone who applies is automatically on. Like, that's what I'm saying, is that this vote is sort of artificial because
But it's a formality you gotta do.
it's a formality, but you said, like, if there's a vacancy, then the chancellor asks them to come on. So that's what I'm saying. It adds this awkward element where either they should just be on or they should not. Like, that's what I don't get.
That process of vote is they put it in there so you can pick who you want. Bottom line, that's what it is. It's not just on criteria. It's, hey, CEC, do you want this person?
But that's
Because
why we
if
keep
they
bringing
pick
up
it on a
face,
blanket,
because that's not
just say,
true.
okay, this guy's qualified, he's going to be in there. As Matt says, you may have a person come in that would disrupt the whole chemistry of the voting for the agendas that we do and all of the other things. This year, we've been very positive with that. One bad apple can spoil a bunch.
I mean, I don't
So
think
that-
we have to all get along or agree,
It's not
or
about getting along.
I don't even think we have to.
It's about
But as
chemistry.
far as the vote goes, the votes are never good. That goes up to that's also taking the education board. That's done by that. Now, the authority, that's like you guys know, the authority that FACE has over this CEC
Zero. They have no authority.
Then why are they getting?
Yeah, why
That's
are they
because
so
we don't
involved?
have access to their background. We
Right.
can't go into student
No.
enrollment records and say, all they do is let this
To
person.
make sure they're
You
parents,
can't
make
do
sure
that.
that they're parents.
That's it. We don't have that authority to get into.
They just vet them, that's it.
But as far as like, FACE coming here and saying, you gotta do this. No, we don't. You have zero in this council. We're independent,
Right.
autonomous authority. FACE has zero to say. They could give us suggestions.
They got guidance.
That's it. But they can't sit there and say, well, like tonight, where's the FACE measure? They have to be here. No, they had zero saying who we
I was
elect and what we do.
I was
Yeah,
confused
They
about that.
have, that's the part of the problem here. People don't know what FACE's position is. FACE has zero authority to tell the CEC
Right.
what to do, anything.
I didn't understand that, given the
Yes.
last time with everything. Aaliyah, you would put that, like, that's why I was confused, because the last time Maribel was going through all.
There was like a lot of
Right,
input.
right. So then why
And-
is today so simple? That's where I was confused. And does that make sense?
That's what FACE, that's what FACE wants.
Right. Right.
We voted in the next.
Right.
So I was, so now we're interviewing their voting. I just need consistency.
The consistency is what we said. So if you want to bring a resolution up an hour before the meeting, our bylaws don't allow that. But FACE sat here and told us, oh, no, you can't do that, that's through a resolution, that's to be talked about and then voted on. No, our bylaws.
We never had a problem before.
Our bylaws state, within 48 hours of the meeting, any member can present the resolution and vote on that. But they're going to tell you because that's, I hate to say it, FACE likes to delay things for us. So if we want to pass a resolution, instead of us passing it that night, it can take us 2 meetings. And now all that work you gotta do, you're not gonna get anything done. It's almost delayed. And that's kind of the thing. I'm not a big FACE person. I don't support FACE. I think they are very negative and they try to sway people. Don't let them sway you. It's like SLT kind of talk to you guys. Say it.
Consistency of cost, because we sort of look at what other CCs are doing in terms of resolutions and processes, right? And I look and I see that a lot of them do follow the FACE recommendations. And they're, I mean, I hate to say it, but they seem a little more organized and put together. So why is it that why aren't we looking at what makes those meetings run well? And I think part of it is the guidance.
Also that, and also member participation debate.
Yeah.
Member participation. I send emails out to the council. I send email out.
I try.
Representative Phil Wan, I'm asking you for D30 for your schools. This guy wanted to give us, I got millions. Unfortunately, nobody in this council even wrote that one email saying, you know what, I want a new playground for my school. I want $2 million.
Right.
Nobody wrote that one, and this is gonna benefit your school directly. And nobody replied back.
I could just personally say that.
How do we know they're like that?
It's a proper.
Like from the school?
No, us. Us.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
so I went out to school.
Yeah.
What do you need? What do you need?
Yeah.
Yep. It came up with 17 million. I think, about that. But you get a lot of emails. Janet, how many do I get?
No, it's ridiculous.
I get
No, it's very-
FACE,
I can
CEO,
imagine, yes.
CEC.
Yeah, so
I get,
I answer about 630 emails a month. That's my life. I get about 2,000 a month.
yeah.
You're getting that from CC, I'm getting that from one.
Same.
Oh, yeah, I got my work
Hundreds.
too.
I'm getting
I
it
have
from
work.
everything else and from this, and it's just.
No, it is a lot.
If I sent them all out to you girls, you would be like,
Yeah.
what?
Like, the other CECs, they may be more organized. Absolutely. Do they get stuff done for their district? Let's look at their track record.
We know that that's CC 30.
CEC 30 does, but that's gonna end next year
Why is that?
because they're losing the parliament.
What?
Michael Janaris account. Michael Janaris was a E30 student.
Yes.
He's the head of the
Right.
Democratic Party, the most powerful in there. They wanted schools built. How are they gonna build? Michael Janaris.
Right.
Now their power man's up.
But that doesn't mean that they still won't fix it.
It will slow it down. SCA, Michael Janaris got all those schools built, SCA improvements because they had a rabbi.
But they also have the foundation, right? They have their operation to get support. I don't think it is slow down that.
It will. Because I know Mercedes,
from Michael Generis' office.
Oh, yeah.
I have some money for 24.
Forget it.
You support 30. That's what Michael. I think, yeah, Michael can move here. You know, but that's okay, but we get agendas better, like Leah's very good with that tonight.
Right.
Getting agendas, what do you want to do, agendas?
Oh, yeah.
Getting more structure, getting stuff out early, you know.
Yeah, if you want to redo,
You know,
like a suggestion to redo the agenda, just.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I can't stand.
No,
I
yeah,
hate
let's do it.
it.
And I mean,
And I just.
Matt's right. We need to all be more engaged.
Right.
No, but I'm saying like,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
sitting up and I had your spot, because at some point I did text you and I said, oh my God, thank you so much. Because I know you advocated.
How do
for
we
my schools.
change?
I just feel so stupid and like I'm learning and it's like. How I. And with this, I'm telling you, see, I feel awful. I'm gonna be doing this for the rest of my, once I switch churches. So I feel awful, but that's what my gut said. And it comes down to, I know what it was. I chose to run anyway. I've known you a long time. I think we're doing a pretty good job. It can always be better. But like, we are different personalities. We are different everything. But I think we're doing okay. And a warm body, I just, again, he's very smart. And if it ends up on here, I am okay with that. But me personally, I had to abstain for a number of reasons.
I just hate to say, if he pushes it, he's gonna get out no matter what. The chance of all coming down.
And that's fine. I'm fine with that as long as I know I did
Yeah,
what I asked.
but. Yeah,
No, but
we just gotta be better aligned. We
Yes.
wanna move ahead with. Cursive writing there. We got somebody unite on.
I'll bring
and
it
push it.
home one day.
Right.
Or somebody.
Yes.
That's something you come out strong front saying, we want this.
And that's somebody.
Well, I mean, to Brian's point. Well, to Brian's
But
point,
that-
I feel like
yes.
we have been through the line with all our resolutions.
Yeah.
They said for the most part, like, we really.
No, I think we are pretty aligned. That's.
But again-
is I think
But a lot of stuff,
we're-
like you guys are always busy, so a lot of stuff gets done in the background, like.
Oh, yeah.
It's also the chancellor at 61, playing the games with. The DSS that day.
Yes.
One DFSA, well, you know, whatever the next minute. Everything's.
No,
Yeah.
you are a miracle.
No, we all work together.
No, but you do spearhead a lot of it, and that's real. But we do, my
Well, let's see
opinion
the
is we do
concern.
support
Let's
you.
see the concerns that are visible, like, something we can accomplish.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're going to put a moat down the school.
But I
That's
think-
the reality. One of the realities is move the playground at PS7 to
But you're-
58
yes.
for 1.6 million.
Yes.
It saves the
Get
school
the
1.6 million.
house at 87, get the gym at 61, like there are, I do feel that day, the last time you did the presentation, you said this is what we've done. You spearheaded a good percentage of it, but we, a collective whole, under your leadership, you've done a lot. But we could always do more.
We're hitting the road, I got the microphones. We're going, they're hitting the road, SCA sites, when they're not doing crap for 87. We're gonna do a video, and we're gonna send it to SCA, we're gonna send it to our site, send it to the parent districts, and we're advocating, but they're not doing anything to support your schools.
Right.
So we're gonna be doing that coming up. We're gonna go a little.
Would you mind if I leave? Because I know, I should.
Yeah, so all that packet, oh, yes. Let's vote to adjourn. Okay.
Because my
Yeah,
son
we
has
just-
finished work.
we just-
I'll talk to you. Yes, I just put everything in the office.
John, I'll leave the tablecloths up here, I'll put the electronics away.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you, ladies. Steve, they don't have your life.
Well, let's see how everybody gets to it. Yeah. I also want to get something together, because the document I had is 19 property management.
Take care.
No, I also want to change.
See you.
When we go in, members stop the like. What are your SLT days?
Yeah, it's.
What are your ETA days?
Yeah.
It's more like. You're there, a compliance.
Yes, that's the stuff you can email and I'll say, I have this.
How's it going? It's going, what is it now? I mean, it's funding. I got the resume from me 4 years ago, I can't. Okay, you know, and then.
Politics.
Let's take this question away, we can brief. Let's see this project move. There's ways, I have a whole 19 pages with the way around it. Yeah, 3 trades involved. You can, concrete, that's what you, nothing.
Thank you.
I have no kind of reading. But it's. But I don't care if those people do these.
Exactly. So I'm buying book. This is how I approach it. It's like this. It's like when I started recipe for the first time. I follow the recipe, I want to create the recipe, and then I start.
Yeah, but there's no more. Well, now this, DOE, the rest of
Changes every time, every freaking administration, there's no consistency ever.
But that's what you're.
Oh.
Yeah, let's get a smart board, owl, speakers.
And so to me, like, it's all these questions, when it may not even be the same curriculum in a couple of years. It bothers me.
Yeah, I found the teaching matters thing very interesting. That I think it's great.
Because teaching H is coming in and telling them, no, you can't change it. And they want advice.
And let me tell you how much I love H&H.
And the teacher's like, well, I think this works better than, no.
Yeah.
So that's why they brought them in there. Yeah, maybe.
No, I think that's.
Bye,
Bye.
Bye, bye.
Bye.
Everybody got a cushion seat except me.
Yeah.
Stop, that's the same, I didn't wear this shirt. Hold this with me. Super long. These notes when I go home, like, and I'm like, talk about it. These notes when I go home, I'm like, you know, it takes too long. It's not enough words.
Well, I'm on vacation, just so.
Yeah,